Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, I restarted the router, and it says the stream health is excellent.
Well,
now.
like I said, for now.
Well, before it was just said that no, it was.
Yeah, we got
were
yellow
getting
shit, and we got like
warnings and stuff.
poor.
So it may have been that the router needed to be reset.
Just nobody moved.
And I hadn't reset that router in several months.
That's true.
So maybe that's what it was. We'll see.
I don't know.
Maybe
we'll figure it out.
What I was talking about is before it dropped. Said a lot of those chain restaurants will give you a bunch of extra food to try to bait you back in.
Yeah.
Later on, like, oh, I got a good value. But really all they gave you was half a handful of extra French fries and maybe a couple little sides, like a couple pieces of bread. They didn't give you really anything.
Well, they did, but...
Wasn't anything, in terms of money, it wasn't really worth much. But Chantel's, she was giving us stuff. You know, it's homemade. It's good stuff. You know what I mean? She was like, oh, for a couple extra bucks, we'd give you a big old fucking side of catfish. I'm like, yeah. That's protein there, man. Hell yeah.
Well, like I said, I didn't realize that it was going to be like a big pile of shrimp and a big pile of fried catfish.
Yeah.
I just thought, I don't know. I just thought it was going to be like a smaller
bowl. And then, you know, I wanted that dessert. Wanted to taste her homemade desserts, not the stuff I know she's buying out.
Yeah.
Know. The cakes. I had the cakes. They're great. But I want to see what she made. And she's making nana pudding and cobbler. That's Southern stuff. And you see, if you want to support a restaurant, you always want to get drinks and you want to get desserts because that's their profit makers right there.
I feel bad. I never get soda because I don't like soda.
Drinks.
I just don't drink it. I always get ice water with lemon in it.
You pay a couple dollars for a drink. They paid 5 cents for that thing.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like,
okay.
There's a huge profit margin. Right. Every restaurant, like fast food restaurants and everything. But like I said, I never get, like if I go to a fast food restaurant like McDonald's or something, I usually get iced coffee. I don't get soda. I'm just not a big soda fan, you know.
You pay $5 for a big old nana pudding. You know, she paid 30 cents for that. And I want to give her that money. But I want that pudding too. I want that pudding.
I want that pudding.
I want that pudding. Because, you know, I can make it here, but then I have to lay out fucking $20 to make a big old bowl of that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe I'd only use half of it. Nanas. Vanilla wafers. Half a box. Sometimes a whole box, depending on how big the tub is you're going to make of that.
Well, yeah, I feel like if you're going to make nana pudding, you got to make a tub.
It ages well. After it's been in there for a couple days, all those fucking wafers start to absorb fucking moisture, you know, they get soft. I like it. Somebody was in there talking about they want a Taurus. That Taurus, I think he said TX22. I'm not sure exactly what that is. That must have been one of the little subcompact 22s. I don't know if that's a target or a subcompact. 22 is fun for target shooting, light game, you know, having fun, training. But you don't want that for self-defense. Fuck no. 380 or bigger. That's it.
Yeah. Sandra, what's the name of that pudding? Nana pudding. Yeah.
Nana pudding. With an N.
Yeah. Tila said, yep, Nana is in banana.
Yeah.
Well, in the cookbook, I called it nanner pudding.
Yeah, Nana. It's in the cookbook. Yankees and shit will make the mistake of calling them vanilla wafers. It does not say vanilla wafer on the box. It says Nilla wafers with an N.
That's the Nabisco brand.
Yeah,
you got to kind of use those. They do have generic ones, but they're not quite the
wafers.
Same. They're not quite the same as the Nabisco ones.
Yeah, you want Nabisco Nilla wafers, and it's Nana pudding. N-A-N-N-A. Nana pudding.
We don't need no first syllables down here. We just need the second syllables.
Jenny doesn't like bananas, so she doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not a big banana fan.
Yeah.
I'm just a banana fan. Banana phone. Yeah, I don't know why. I've just never been. I like a bunch of other fruit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like banana. I can eat like a banana, like a real banana, but I don't like anything with fake banana flavor. I do not like that artificial banana flavor. Not one bit.
Fucking no need for me to saying you guys are killing me with the food talk. It always gets me eating. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was another thing is I was going to say, if you go to a little Southern restaurant or, something like a soul food restaurant, which soul food, Southern food and soul food, it's the same thing.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. It's just one of the different versions of Southern food. There's a lot of crossover. In Southern culture, especially this includes Louisiana with Cajuns and shit and Creoles. Food is like a religion here. It is. You really got to watch it. Like for instance, my dad grew up with a baby bottle that had milk and fucking bacon fucking drippings in it. They put they used to put
give that baby some protein.
They would fucking give that baby some bacon fat. They would drip bacon fat in baby bottles.
Yeah.
Back then, make them healthy. You know, they just had different They had different
hair in your chest.
Yeah, make that boy get him big early.
In your pencil.
You know, fucking crazy.
Well, that was very I mean, my Southern grandma was very much, even though she was like very thin her whole life.
Yeah.
But that was just kind of like if you were kind of chubby, that was good.
Yeah.
Just like you need to get
He's
big.
healthy. He's
That's
healthy. Healthy. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to be chubby, and if you didn't eat, if you just ate a little bit, if you didn't get seconds, they thought you were sick.
Yeah. This whole thing about being thin and fit, that's white upper class mentality. You know, Southern middle class or black people, no. In the South, no. Is it fucking up again?
It froze again.
This shit's fucking up again. Well,
it didn't stop at that end.
It hasn't stopped at this end yet. But anyway, fucking, you know, having fucking meat on your bones was considered to be that, hey, you were eating well. You weren't starving. You must have money.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of what it was, like, because for a long time, if you were skinny, that meant that you were starving to death. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. T says cholesterol off the charts at 5 years old. Yeah, actually, when the cholesterol is off the chart, it's actually on the Southern chart.
Yeah, we have our own chart.
It got our own chart. Yeah. I don't know why your fucking computer's doing this. It seems to be doing well over here.
Well, I'm just gonna pretend
everybody's not having a problem.
I'm just gonna pretend that my shit does that sometimes, where it's like my shit'll freeze up and then it'll just my shit starts fucking doing it. But okay, I'm back now.
Back, all right.
But God, this is it's stressing me out.
T's talking about too. Yes, Nana puddings and Nilla wafers. They're round, flaky cookies. Yeah. Southerners enjoy sweet potato pie over pumpkin pie, but both are delicious. Yeah, they're both good.
I like pumpkin pie better than sweet potato pie. Hey, sweet potato pies, they taste kind of similar.
Man, I once mentioned, well, they were handing out sweet potato pie, and I mentioned pumpkin pie. Says, yeah, it's good. It's like pumpkin pie. And my dad's best friend, who he grew up with, William Whitman, looked at me like I had slapped somebody. He went like that. Pumpkin pie. We don't eat pumpkin pie around here. That's for y'all Yankees.
And then he put a gun in your face.
Yeah, that's for y'all Yankees. Because he used to call me a Yankee. You know, that's for y'all Yankees. We don't eat. I wasn't Southern enough for them. That's for y'all Yankees. You know, because I was a trader. I moved around. You're supposed to stay right there in your town, I guess. We don't eat no pumpkins here. He was serious too,
which is dumb because pumpkins are delicious.
He was mostly fucking with me. You know what I mean? They don't have pumpkins there. You know.
Whatever.
And it was kind of a fucking. It was kind of a thing of fucking cultural pride. Yeah. You know, Northerners eat pumpkins. We don't eat pumpkins here. We eat sweet potatoes. It's like, all right.
Of all the stupid things to get all like
there's all kinds of little fucking things.
Oh, I know. It's dumb.
All kinds of little fucking things.
Just eat what you like. Nobody cares.
You people don't understand. For you people that don't live in the South, you just don't understand. Our grandparents, not so much our parents, but our grandparents, hated the North. They fucking hated the North. Northern people. Californians were kind of like they didn't really know what to make of that. Nowadays, they wouldn't like them. But they absolutely fucking hated the North.
I know. I remember my grandpa.
My
grandpa died in 1991, but he was very
back in those days.
My dad's kind of like that too.
Yeah, back in those days, back in our grandparents' days, it wouldn't have been safe for a Northerner to walk around. Not in the deep parts of the deep South. They'd kill you.
They probably would have in some areas, yeah.
They were tribal, basically. You were the enemy. I've been into this many times over in other parts of the shows. It was a North Korean style mentality. They had lost that war. They didn't give a shit about any of the politics behind it. It was just this honor of that they had lost that war and they could not stand being dictated to by New York and Chicago and northern people. They just fucking hated them.
Although Chicago's Midwest.
They didn't care. Anything that was outside the South, anything north of the Mason-Dixon line was an enemy.
That was one of the things. I mean, my grandma wasn't so much like that. My grandfather totally was. Like I said, he died in 1991. And that was one of the things I never liked about growing up in the South. Everyone was like so provincial. And I don't know. It's just like they couldn't just be cool and be normal and just like hang out with people like normal people. They always had to have like these kind of virtue signaling markers that it's like, you know, are you from here? Are you from there? Right. We don't eat that. We don't do that. I'm like, would you just fucking chill out? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was more our grandparents' generation. Though. Yeah. Yeah, I think they had been through a lot more. My dad wasn't so much like that. He kind of.
My dad kind of is.
What's that?
My dad kind of is.
Yeah, he was only like halfway like that.
Yeah.
You know, he would like going, yeah, they're fucked up, but he wasn't real hardcore about it.
Right.
He could deal with a person based upon who they were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, not my grandparents. Fuck no. Especially my grandmother. I never met my granddad, or her, you know, on my dad's side. He was dead by the time I was born. But my grandmother absolutely hated fucking non-Southerners. It was like you were a foreigner. Worse.
Yeah,
Worse.
like I said,
like an enemy.
I'm familiar with that mindset. Sure.
Yeah. It was a different time.
It was.
Yeah.
It's
my dad didn't take it that seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just, I don't know. That always like
my dad's attitude was like, yeah, them Yankees, man, you can't reason with them. They always want you to pay for something. They want you to pay for parking, or they want you to pay for some kind of license. Fuck that. I just do it. You know, that's my dad. They're trying to get money out of you. You know, that's my dad. Basic. Oh, them, yeah. But my grandmother was like that. If you were Northern, you were inhuman. You know, just
which, like I said, it's you know, it's
fucking weird. Yeah,
it is weird, and I thought it was weird when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Even back then, I was just kind of like, what the.
It was just a different time.
You guys are old.
Yeah.
Even back then. Well, because like I said, I distinctly remember, even when I was a kid, being like, I never want to be, I mean, you know, I knew that I was going to be an old person, like physically, but I was just kind of like, I don't want to ever mentally be like the old people that I had seen around. So a lot of times if I, you know, make jokes about like, oh, fucking old people or whatever, that doesn't necessarily have to do with how old you actually are. You could be a 25-year-old old person. It depends on what your fucking attitudes are. You know what I mean? I've met some people younger than me that I still considered old people just because of the way they like acted and the way they thought and stuff, because they just seemed like old people to me.
Tammy said, Pennsylvania must be Southern because I grew up with pecan pie and sweet potato pie. Actually, the thing is,
everybody says that Pennsylvania outside of, you know, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh is kind of like rednecky. Yeah. That's what I've been to Philadelphia once, like a long time ago, but I haven't been in any other place in Philadelphia, though.
I think a lot of that Southern food, like you said, the desserts were kind of universal. Pecan pie, apple pie, sweet potato pie, just depending on what you had. If you look at Southern iconography and you go back into the 1800s and read the newspapers and see how Americans talked about each other, Southerners, everything was... White Southerners were basically descendants of the British Empire. But ethnically, they were Irish and German. Most of them had adopted English names, though, to try to get anonymity, I guess would be a good way to put it.
Yeah, you didn't want anybody saying, are you like fucking
you had to fit in.
Not a super, super white person.
Yeah. Because the Irish weren't really considered to be white. They were white, but they were like the garbage
Which
white.
Is so funny because... Yeah. I mean, people don't think about it now because obviously Irish people are like white as fuck, but generally.
Yeah.
But back in the day, Irish people, Italians, anything like, and people that, you know, now any American would be like, yeah, they're white people.
Yeah.
But back then, no.
Well, if you go back,
which is dumb.
You go back into the honky motherland on the island of the fucking of the main honkies or the secondary honkies of the British. Okay. The Irish were kind of the slaves of the English. You know, there's a bunch of genocides and they fucking just capture women. This is going back to like the 1100s and 1200s, 1300s, 1400s. centuries, you know. And they just treated them like garbage.
Yeah.
The North was, so the South was kind of Celtic and Teutonic. You could see it in the flags. The fucking flag of Florida is the fucking Northern Irish flag, basically. It's a white flag with a red X in it. It's just that ours has a disc on it with some French. Look at this shit.
What?
We got fucking. Oh, is it going? Can you guys hear me?
My shit came back again. It's been kind of going off and on.
What's the stream quality say?
No, well, I don't know. I can't look at it because
it's doing its thing.
Yeah. I'm just like letting it roll because.
If you looked at the Florida flag, it's the flag of Northern Ireland with a fucking disc on it with an Indian woman looking out to the sea, and there's a ship coming, and there's all this fucking fruit and vegetables at her feet. I think it's an Indian woman.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then you look at, Confederate battle flags. They kind of look like Irish versions of the fucking Union Jack, you know. The North was more Anglo. There were a lot more English and Scandinavians, you know. Fucking, there's a lot of people that were from Sweden and Denmark and stuff from up there, you know. So back in those days, there was a big ethnic component. It was white boy blood feuds going back centuries. As part of it. Going back to the honky motherland, they were mad at each other.
Well, that's the thing. It's just kind of like, look, I'm even the same race as you, but I'm still going to find some other shit like to fucking other you about.
Right.
Which is sad.
Well, they all had a history of fucking with each other and went back centuries, and they didn't forgive each other.
Well, like I said, even when I was in the UK in the 90s and the 2000s, like the early 2000s, it was just kind of like, man, the English and the Welsh didn't like each other. The English and the Scots didn't like each other. Nobody liked each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Might be better now. I'm not really sure, but you know.
Modern Southern white people are kind of, just in general, they're basically Irish people. Basically. Some of them mixed in with Native American and some of them slightly
that's what my heritage is.
And some of them slightly Africanized too.
Yeah.
And then Southern black people are Irishized. A lot of them, if you actually do a DNA test on them, a lot of them have like a lot of Irish blood in them. And they don't know a lot, or they don't seem to know. I've seen videos, these black girls from the South get DNA test. And, they've got this fucking fantasy that they're going straight back to Wakanda. Well, think the test results come back and they're like 50% fucking European, and it's Ireland.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people, unless your family didn't move around much.
Yeah, you mix.
Most people are
some kind of
mutts.
Mix. I mean, my granddad.
I certainly am.
My granddad on my mother's side was part Syrian, of all things. He was a Syrian Christian, or his mother was a Syrian Christian. And, just the way it was,
Yeah, I actually.
And he was like from Virginia.
Yeah, so, I did that DNA thing like on my maternal side. And going back, we're pretty much Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
So,
Well, a lot of the founding fathers had Middle Eastern blood. A lot of people don't realize that fucking Thomas Jefferson was fucking part Syrian.
Yeah.
It was, because all that stuff goes back to the Ottoman empires, and, the Roman Empire broke into two, and the Eastern Roman Empire became very Middle Easternized in a ways, There has always been crossover. Even going back to the motherland.
Yeah, like I said, everybody's just...
And the Gauls, who were the ancient French, may have had some Middle Eastern ancestry. And evidently, the Celts, who were the Irish, may have come from the Middle East. It's just that, the map was different back then, and not everybody was where you expected them to be.
Ooh, I didn't expect them to be there.
Didn't expect them bitches to be there.
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
It is. It's
well, when I was living in Egypt, man, I'd run into dudes that had fucking red hair, a ginger, an Arab. But
Did he have a soul?
He's a ginger. I don't know. He's an Arab dude, but he's a ginger. Yeah. Now, a lot of white people got taken as slaves during, during certain parts of the Muslim era of the what do you call them, the Crusades.
Yeah.
But then also some Europeans just moved there and stayed during the Crusades period.
Yeah.
Some knights said, fuck it, I'm not going back to Europe. I'm going to stay right here. That happened also. Some knights converted to Islam. There's a bunch of stuff that happened that people don't realize.
But see, that's why I find history so fascinating, because it's always like way more complicated than we give it credit for.
Victor says, Jenny, green is my favorite color.
Is it?
Yeah, he's got all those damn eyes. I like the blue one better. The green looks pretty good. But
well, I was just, like I said, I got a purple one, I got a blue one, I got a red one, and I was like, what the fuck, man?
It's coming back.
Everybody get off the internet. Is everybody looking at porn? Knock it off.
It's still loading on their side.
Oh, shit. Well,
let's see.
Maybe it'll come back in a second.
No sound either, huh?
I don't see how that could be. Just tell me.
Hold on.
If I need to fucking restart it. About to Hulk out. I got the green hair already. It's like, I'm almost there. Hulking out. This is why I drink, you guys.
It's back. They're saying it's back. It's back. Yeah. I don't know what it was.
This is why I drink. Well, among the many other reasons that I drink, but this is a big reason why.
We just kept the stream open and it eventually reconnected.
Well, see, sometimes I think that the mistake that I made before was that as soon as it froze up, I was like, fuck this. And I was kind of like, but if you leave it and you just keep on talking, then sometimes it comes back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's almost kind of like there's an interruption in the stream.
Yeah.
See what stream quality
There's a disturbance in the force. Don't make me touch anything. It's free. It's frozen.
It's frozen?
It's frozen.
It hasn't frozen over here.
I know, but I'm just saying, if you touch that, it'll fuck it up. Just don't touch anything.
You're worried.
Don't touch anything. I'm trying not to move.
Touching the mouse will not cause it to do anything.
You know what? You were the one that told me not to touch the mouse.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago. Do you not remember that?
Touching the mouse. Well, I'm going to touch the mouse. Let's see if it locks up. I'm going to touch it. It did.
I told you not to touch the mouse.
It did. Oh, wait, it's just our image. It didn't stop the stream. Let's see.
I told you not to touch the mouse.
Yeah. And look, the image froze for them.
See, I told you.
I can't understand.
I told you not
There's
to touch
got to be
anything.
Something fucking wrong with that.
I told you not to touch anything. What I might have to do is I might have to adjust the settings and go to like a lower resolution. But it's like I can't do that right now because I don't remember how to do it. But I might have to do it for the next one for the Friday show. But you know what I mean.
It's got to be a way.
I mean, there is, but I can't do it right now. Please don't stress me out like that. You know what I mean.
Funny. Look, they're laughing when I said I'm gonna touch it.
And he touched it, and the second
and then they're going, listen to Jenny, Tom. Listen to Jenny.
He never does. He never does.
Damn it.
He doesn't listen. He's a dude. They don't listen to anybody.
There's evidently so little memory that moving the mouse is enough to get it to fuck up.
Well, honestly, this computer, with the weird shit that it does with the microphone, it's like I'm honestly just like afraid to like move anything. I'm afraid to like touch anything. I'm afraid to like move my chair.
I'm getting rid of that piece of shit. We're gonna get you another one. That wasn't the one we wanted anyway. Everything else was sold out. That was just a random one we had to get.
Yeah, I went to like Target or Target.
Yeah, we had to get a laptop, and all of them were fucking sold out.
Yeah, there was like 2 left, and it's like this was the more expensive one, and I just got this one.
That wasn't the more expensive one. That was a cheap one. The better one was at
Best Buy,
and they were sold out.
Oh, that's right. The one I wanted was at Best Buy, and it was sold out. So then I went to Target.
And they had this.
They had like 2.
Yeah, they had better ones that were sold out, and this was the only thing that was in there.
Yeah, everybody decided they needed a laptop at the same time as I decided I needed one.
And this was kind of like the budget one.
And I was kind of like, well, I kind of need one because my other shit was broke. And I was like, well.
And I said, well, it's only for streaming. I mean, how much does it actually need? It was a $300 laptop, though. It wasn't like it was free. You know?
It could have been free if we'd have run really fast.
Yeah. I mean, a fucking phone can do better than this.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe we should just use, because I just bought a new phone. Maybe we should just use
the phone. Fucking phone.
I'm just going to use the phone.
Yeah.
Seriously, though. See, we moved too much. It stopped again.
You want to know? It did.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Okay.
Just see what happens.
Just don't move around too much. Don't move around too much. All right. So I think I said on the thing. So we started watching, like last night, I was watching a couple movies, right? Come on. I was watching a couple movies and then I was like really tired and I was like, what the fuck else? What can I watch so I don't have to really like concentrate too much on? And I remembered that Netflix had added season 11 of Hoarders. And for whatever reason, I'm not super into like reality TV or any of this kind of like, hey, look at these trashy ass people kind of shows. But I don't know. For some reason, I'm fascinated by hoarders. Maybe because my grandfather was a hoarder. So it's kind of like, so I can like relate. And the thing about the people that are on Hoarders, every single episode that we watch, and shit, man, the new ones, the season 11 ones, they're like an hour and a half. They're like a movie length, man. And they only like talk about, because remember back in the old days when they did Hoarders, it was always, they'd had like 2 different hoarders. And then they would go back and forth like between the two. And the show was only like an hour long or something. Oh, thanks. Well, the new ones only concentrate on one person and the shit is like an hour and a half long, right? So I was just kind of like, holy crap. So they get like way more into like in depth about what the fuck these people's problem is. I mean, they all have the same problem. They're hoarders, right? Which, you know, is a disorder. But for whatever reason, people that have that particular mental illness just frustrate me so much. And I really like the one we just watched, like the first one, and the woman's name was Carol, right? And she was basically the worst. I mean, I don't know. They all kind of suck, but she was the worst. What ended up happening? There was this beautiful. They had a beautiful house. It was in Missouri, I think. It was like a 3-story. It was a mansion for real. You know, it was old. I think it was built in like 1905 or something like that. But it was a gorgeous, gorgeous house, like one of those old style, like colonial looking houses. Beautiful. So I guess that it had been owned by her husband, Dave, or her husband, Dave. His name was Dave. Yeah. Now, Dave had been married before to this woman named B, and she had committed suicide. She had hanged herself in the fucking basement of this house, right? So that was kind of a thing. And after she died, the couple had been friends with this woman, Carol. 18 months after B committed suicide, Carol, and Dave got married, right? Which seemed a little weird. Okay. But, you know, whatever. Not judging. This is back in the 50s or 60s or whenever it was. And, maybe 70s. I can't remember. But, so they got married. And not only did Carol start spending a whole bunch of money by running up debts on the dead wife's credit cards, but also started filling this gorgeous, gorgeous house up with crap, right? Because she was one of those ones that, oh, I have to go to a thrift store and I have to buy like all these million things, like baskets and clothes and all that other kind of crap. So this house, which is 3 stories, it was like fucking huge and it was just like packed with shit. And this woman was just, I mean, her husband was like an old man and he was like on oxygen and stuff. And he was just kind of like he lived in like the living room, like on the couch.
Make
right?
another drink. Get back.
Oh, I thought you were doing that already.
No, I had to go to the restroom.
Oh, okay.
And I had to check out Pookie.
Oh, what was Pookie doing? Pookie was asking for shit. So yeah, so the sick ass dude whose house it is, right? Because this is him and his, you know, passed away wife had bought this house like a long time ago. And then this woman came in and like married him later and then filled his house up with crap and also put him like $400,000-$500,000 in debt. So awesome. And this woman was just so fucking, I don't understand. Like they have, you know, the same people, they have that one like super annoyingly perky woman on the show that is kind of like the hoarding expert. And she's the one that like leads up all the crews, like the cleanup and stuff. And, you know, like I said, she's really perky, which kind of gives me a migraine, but, you know, I don't understand how people have patience to deal with people with that disorder, because I don't know, man. They just kind of they got this woman out there and I think they ended up taking like 32 tons of shit out of this house, right? And it's like, man, it was like fucking dumpsters and dumpsters full. And she was just like sitting on the couch, and it's like every time they would bring something out, it was like a box, and it was literally full of garbage. Like there was mouse poop all over everything. And it's like, no, we can't throw this away. I need this piece of paper. I need this, that. What the fuck, man? It's like, and I don't know. I don't know how, like, you know, psychiatrists or whoever, like, you know, therapists that have to deal with people with this disorder. I don't understand how they can just like not pop them in the face and just be like, look, we're just throwing all your shit away, or we're just going to burn your house down and seed the ground with salt, because I don't know. I don't have the patience for that. I'm a fairly patient well, I don't know if that's true, but it's like, I'm a fairly patient person, but it's like, I don't know. I don't think I could deal with somebody that was just kind of like, oh, I need that garbage. I need that. You know what I mean? I don't get it. But yeah, so this woman was terrible. And then they got the house cleaned up amazingly, and it looked awesome. Like I said, it was a gorgeous house. And everything seemed to be awesome. Like, you know, all the family was getting along. They were having this big fucking kumbaya moment. And then they have that little after thing where they tell you what happens, like after the, you know, crew left or whatever. And they're like, yeah, well, this bitch decided that she was like, fuck this house. I'm not, because there was like a lien on it too, because she hadn't paid the bills, right? Because she spent all the money buying a bunch of crap. And so she was like, fuck this place. I'm going to go move into this apartment with my son where she had been living. So she left the her sick ass husband there. He died later on, like after the fucking show was over. And then she's like, you know, not my problem. Bye. And then she took off, and then her and the family never talked to each other again. She wouldn't go to therapy, and she was just being like, fuck all y'all. I was like, that's nice. I don't understand. I don't know how people can deal with people like that. I just really don't, you know?
Yeah.
And honestly,
what they said.
Yeah. And man, it's a fascinating show, but for some reason it's like, I really, really want to watch it. But then like every time I watch it, I'm just kind of like, oh my God, I just want to punch this person in the throat.
I'll watch Hoarders, and then when I get done with that shit, it makes you want to clean the fucking house.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I gotta.
Today you were like, I'm gonna clean out the laundry room.
Yeah.
That was fucking funny.
Yeah.
He cleaned up all the he cleaned out the laundry room, like
reorganized
everything, like by the coffee station, he cleaned everything up.
Yeah, I can't stand that.
But that's kind of like what's good about watching it, is that it makes you want to clean stuff up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you clean like all the bathroom floors and everything.
Tina's talking about it because I have to admit, I love shoes. She likes handbags and cosmetics. She gotta stop. Yeah, I know. I love shoes too.
He also loves shoes.
I also love shoes. I love women's shoes.
I'm ambivalent about shoes. I mean, I like shoes. Like, if I see a nice pair, I'm like, ooh, but I'm not like one of those people that's kind of like, oh my God, shoes. I'm not one of those.
Yeah, she said that what makes you want to disinfect everything. It does.
It does.
Because those people are fucking so nasty. My skin starts fucking crawling, and I'm like going, imagine the smell. Imagine the smell in that place.
I mean, and this one was, I mean, it was gross because anytime you pile up, as I said, 31 tons of stuff, 31 tons they took out of that house.
And then they find shit like dead cats.
Yeah,
dead fucking
this one they
rats,
found some dead rats that were like kittens, mummified.
Dead dog in the damn house.
Yeah.
Fuck. Look at this. It's fucking look, it fucking froze up on yours. It didn't freeze here though.
Well, as long as it's not freezing on yours, then I'm just gonna keep on fucking going.
Just go through it.
Fuck this shit.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm just over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this one wasn't too bad in the sense that this wasn't like the bag shitter.
Oh, that one?
You remember the bag shitter?
Fucking, yeah, woman was shit in the bag and then just throw it in the bathtub, and then she had it all
like a pile
up
of plastic bags with poop in them.
And then she filled up the whole bathtub and the ceiling.
And then she started throwing them out the window.
And she had a whole bathroom filled with bags full of shit.
And the floor collapsed.
And it ate through the damn floor.
Yeah.
And that just reminded me of something. Yeah, plastic will not stop that bacteria. And my friend just sent me a clip from somebody took from a cell phone. This is how stupid people are. At the gas station, Chinese lady jumps out of her car, takes a plastic bag, puts the gas nozzle in it, and fills up the plastic bag full of gasoline. Ties it, sets it down.
That's not going to go the way she thinks it's going to go.
Then she goes, gets another plastic bag, picks it up, puts that bag in the other one. She picks it up, gasoline starts coming out. Of course, it eats right through that shit. And then she takes it, puts that in the other bag.
She's double bagged it.
She double bagged it. And guess what she did? She put it in the fucking trunk and shut the trunk and drove away.
Wouldn't it have been? It would have been kind of funny if, like, at the end of the video, you saw her driving away and then boom! That was a big explosion.
Yeah, because it eats right through that fucking plastic and eats right.
Darwin Award.
Her trunk is filled with gasoline. And the dude who's taking the phone is going, "What the fuck? What the fuck does she think she's doing?" No, she's not doing that. And the guy in the back.
And I don't know where I don't know where this gas station is, but pretty much every gas station that has a convenience store sells those little 5-gallon gas cans.
Yeah, well, she wanted to save money.
I mean, I've bought them there many times.
Remember Mad TV, Swan, the Korean lady, the woman who pretended to be a Korean woman called Swan. That's who it looked like was filling it up. Little Swan, Miss Swan.
Yeah, I remember.
He looked like
me that. I never watched that show, but you watched.
What do you look like? He looked like a man.
I see you, Pookie. I see your little shadow coming in. I saw your shadow on Spock's crotch.
Yeah.
In the background. Can we talk about, since you're talking about videos, can we please talk about that video you showed me last night about that little Irish girl?
Oh, yeah.
Who...
I can show it here if you want.
There's a little Irish girl. She's 6.
Yeah. With little cheeks painted red.
She does not understand why she's not allowed to go to the pub.
She tried... What, Pook? No, Pook. She's trying to get in the closet.
She's like, well, I want to go
come in and put the closet? No.
So, she... Hey, man. You guys suck.
This little 6-year-old girl uses reason like a motherfucker and logic like a motherfucker to try to reason herself into the pub. And her mom's going like, "You can't go to the pub.
You're just little.
You're just little." And she's like, "I'm 6." She tries to reason that 6 is old enough to go. And then she's saying, "Well, I went that one time, this and that." That was for your father's birthday. And then she starts pulling out all these other friends of hers that
were allowed to go at various times.
To the pub. She wants to go to the pub to see her dad and her dad's friends fucking drinking beer.
And she keeps saying, "I'm 6."
Yeah.
I'm 6.
I'm 6.
Like,
and then she goes, "My own mother will not let me go to the pub." She said, "Mother, my own mother will not let me go to the pub."
That little girl was awesome.
Yeah.
And as like inexplicably, she had like little like red circles painted on her cheeks.
Like a clown.
Yeah, for whatever reason. I don't really know why. But it was just really funny, like her little gestures and like all the shit that she was saying.
My own mother will not let me go to the pub.
My own mother won't let me go.
She said mother.
Well, yeah, she's Irish.
My own mother will not let me go to the pub.
Why did I let it go to the pub?
Yeah.
She keeps going like that.
Yeah.
It's so fucking funny. Oh my god. He was showing me to that last night and I was just fucking dying.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Let me show it too. I can show it too.
I mean, you know.
I can pull that up. My own mother. She reasons the shit out of this.
Yeah, handbags and cosmetics. I have a lot of cosmetics because I have a what's that thing? That subscription service, Ipsy. And every month they send you that little cosmetics bag with like 5 or 6 little like samples of shit in there. So, some of that stuff I use, some of it not so much. And I'm just kind of like, oh, well, I'll just like keep this over here and I'll, give them to somebody that can use them. And like that never happens. You know what I mean?
I gotta get through this commercial and then I'll show it. All right.
So it's like, I don't think I'd call it a hoard, but I do have it in like a big cookie tin.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see.
Here she is.
Okay.
Her own mother will not let her go to the pub.
Why? For sure, Chuck.
Not at nighttime.
Okay, you got me there. This many.
Yeah.
It's a party though.
Yeah, but I get to go, and I didn't get to say, or I only had to stay home listening. Who was minding me? Why did you not let me just go for one night?
Because you're too little to go to the party.
Mommy, I'm 6. 6. I am absolutely just 6.
Absolutely.
You're 6. Not 16, not 17, not 18. You're 6.
And Millie 6, she got to go to the pub
Mm-hmm.
For her daddy's birthday party.
and she didn't get to.
No.
Well then,
I rest my case.
why don't I get to go? It's my weekend off. What about the other kids are going?
It's my weekend off.
Yeah.
One night, and I won't
From
go
her
to the
stressful
bingo
job.
anymore.
Just one
I
night.
won't go to the bingo.
Notebook.
Okay, I'm trying to go to the toilet.
Yeah, but I don't care. I'm just asking you.
What did daddy say to all this?
He's ignoring me. He's on his phone.
You what?
He's giving out to me. He's shouting at me. I'm trying to talk to him.
Reason with her. Reason with her.
All the time when you're gone, he thinks he gets his own way and everything. He thinks that he can go on his phone and he thinks that he doesn't have to spend time with me and he thinks that he pretends he's cleaning when you're gone. And he doesn't really clean. I go into the kitchen because I'm hungry and then he's on his phone and I'm cleaning. I say, no, you're not. You're on your phone.
I'm cleaning.
Ratted him out.
Nice.
Stupid Amy. I'm 6 and my old mother won't let me go to the pub. How is that so fair?
It's so unfair. 6.5.
My mother won't let me. Why my mother won't let me?
It's in Irish genetics.
God.
I know
Look
the
at-
feeling, girl.
That little girl is
I know the
best.
feeling. Just trying to use reason like crazy.
And it's just not working out.
Reason doesn't work with other Irish people.
Well,
It just does.
I can understand because, like, when you're a little kid, you have your own agenda and you have your own little logic, which, like I said, it's little kid logic, but okay. But it can be very frustrating when something makes complete and total sense to you, and yet it seems like it doesn't make any sense to the adults, and you're trying to tell them. I mean, like I said, I'm sure it does seem very unfair to her that maybe her little friends got to go to the pub for like parties and stuff and they're not letting her go. So, you know, I can understand. Stop it with the fucking...
Yeah, my own mother. Yeah, fucking Tina noticed it. She's a future attorney. That's what T said. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Very much
That
so.
kid should be a lawyer.
Very much so.
Seriously.
Very much so.
And I loved the eyebrow action that she had where she was just
Yeah.
trying, where she did that little like pity me kind of eyebrow at that
Yeah.
point. She was just kind of like, but no, no, no. She was like
Yeah.
that. It was like very, I'm like,
she
man,
went,
she
through,
was
she
good
went
at
through the
that.
whole thing. But please, you have to understand.
Oh, that's so fucking funny. Let's see. Wednesday is my late night. I blame these two. Sorry, Gadget 3. I mean, you know, we don't think about it 'cause it's not late for us. It's only like 5.
It's only 6:20.
I mean, it's still daylight out here, for Christ's sake, which is crazy because, you know,
I changed
because
it.
we're drinking
I
already.
changed my drink out to pineapple upside down cake. You
Oh, did you
bitches
really?
are fucking missing out.
We actually, do you know what?
Pineapple upside. It tastes just like
I know,
pineapple.
I know. I've had it before. It's all right. We actually kind of. He's like, here, taste this thing you've tasted a million times.
Yeah.
We also got. He was at Sam's the other day, and he came home with beer. He got some. Was it Guinness?
Beer and Guinness stout.
And you got that apple orchard, like that Angry Orchard apple, so we could make snake bites.
Yeah, you pour it half and half.
Which, like I said, I'm not a big beer fan, but snake bites are good.
Yeah.
With the apple cider.
Apple cider with fucking stout. It's good. Real good.
Yeah, we were drinking that the other night while we were watching Piranha, which is what the review for this week.
There was this bar we used to go to. What's that club where they used to play the fucking cold wave music?
The Falcon.
Falcon, yeah.
It's still there.
Yeah, we gotta go to Falcon again. I'm like about time to go to the Falcon.
That's their Friday nights. It's Friday nights they do their shit.
Yeah, they had a good DJ. Is he still playing down there?
As far as I know.
Okay, then go down there. Because Nick. Instead of they didn't have apple cider, they didn't have hard cider there. They had pear cider.
Yeah.
And I was putting that in Guinness Stout, and that was good too.
That was also very good.
They were looking at me like I was crazy, and I was going like, "No, man, we used to do this in Boston. This is some fucking hardcore mix shit right here, man. Fucking you put that in there. They drink it. There's all kinds of different drinks that those guys. They're Irish Americans, you know. But fucking Whitey Bulger and all those guys up there.
Whitey Bulger.
I told that story already.
He just died recently, didn't he?
Yeah. I lived in Winter Hill, so I saw them.
I remember him because he was one of the suspects for that murder that happened up there. What was it called? Like the Lady of the Dunes or whatever. Who I still don't think they've ever identified. No, but he was one of the suspects. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if he did it or not. But yeah, somebody was saying, Tila was saying when we were talking about the poop hoarder. Did she think she was saving it like for fertilizer? I'm not, you know what? And that kind of occurs to me because it's like, man, I'm going to watch some more Hoarders tonight and I'm going to be really drunk and I'm going to be yelling at the people because that's what I do.
Yeah.
But, like I said, this one wasn't gross. They did find some mummified rats and shit, like once they got everything out of the house, but it wasn't like a poop hoarder situation. And some of the ceiling was falling in, but it wasn't kind of like, they were going to condemn the house, I have to say. So I don't know if they actually ended up tearing it down because they didn't like pay all the bills. Like I said, it kind of went sideways after. But I don't know, because this house didn't have running water either. And so you could use the toilet, but you had to like take a bucket of water in there. See, I don't understand. Like once it gets to the point where there's so much crap in your bathroom, for Christ's sake, that you can't even use the toilet without taking a bucket of water. It's like, why would you want to impose, like life is already enough of a pain in the ass. It's like, why would you want to make it even more arduous?
Those people are fucking insane, Jenny.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And it's like, I get it. It's a mental illness. I get it. And it doesn't make any sense, but it's like, I mean, it does, but not from my point of view. Like I said, my grandfather was a hoarder, so I get it. But it's kind of like, I find that probably the most frustrating mental illness because you can see why they developed these particular proclivities that they have, but you can't like talk them out of it.
No.
They want to keep like every fucking old, fucking McDonald's cup.
Yeah. I can understand
it. They just want to keep it.
I can understand it if you're in fear of poverty or loss.
Yeah, I get that. And some of them are.
You might want to try to save things that maybe will help you later.
Yeah, or things that you feel like might be. And there's also something too about
they're taking that shit to a fucking
way. It's kind of like, okay, I get, like I said, if you go like a lot of people that grew up during the Depression, for example, like later on they tended to hoard food or they would save things or they would pick things out of the garbage. I get that because that's from their point of view, that's a very practical, hey, I could use this, I could repurpose this, and sometimes they did, and that's cool. So it's kind of like it's a natural human thing, and up to a point, it's probably good. It's probably good to reuse things, but they just take it to an extreme where, like I said, this woman, she's pawing through a box full of papers that had mouse shit all over them. Furniture had mouse shit all over it.
And she wants to keep the shit.
And she wants to keep it.
Without cleaning it. But the thing is that one wasn't that bad. She was bad, but she wasn't as bad as some of the other ones. Remember that woman that lived in the pile of filth?
Yeah.
She would actually piss and shit in the pile of filth.
Yeah.
And there was rats and cats trying to live in there with her. And place was fucking terrible. Then they had that other woman she was a hoarder. She had a shit ton of cats and couldn't throw away dead cats. She put dead cats in the refrigerator.
Yeah, they were like in the freezer.
Oh, man. No, they were in the refrigerator.
That one really upset me.
They were in the refrigerator and all the damn cat juice had fallen to the bottom.
That's
Remember
right.
that? Fucking,
no. Oh, man.
No, that one was very mentally ill. And some of these hoarders are not fit for society.
I kind of feel like they really need to be in a structured environment.
They have to be in an outpatient or an inpatient type situation where they're in like a minimum security facility. They can't live on their own. They have to be in a dorm with a cot or a bunk, and you can't give them anything because they'll just hoard.
Yeah.
You know, they can't.
And I feel like there's a really pretty high, like, you know, I don't know the percentage, but I feel like there's a really high, like, recidivism rate for this, because that's why they try to do, like, even on the Hoarder show, they try to do, like, after the show ends, after they clean all your shit out, they try to do aftercare, like, after because the reason, I know it's frustrating for me to watch, but it's always kind of like, you know, I'm usually with the family members that are like, hey, can we just, like, bulldoze all this shit out of here, just burn the house down and start over? Because that just seems like the easiest thing to do, because it's like, obviously none of this crap, I mean, all this crap is garbage. Why do we need it? But I understand that the therapists are trying to cure the people by trying to make them realize this shit is garbage. You don't need it. Why do you need to hang on to it? You know, it's like, why don't you? Because a lot of them, I feel like they hoard stuff because they don't have, or for whatever reason, they feel like their relationships are not, like, you know, their family. A lot of times it happens, like, after, you know, their parents die, or, you know, their sibling dies, or so they have, like, a tragedy in the family. And so they feel like stuff is the only thing they can hold on to, because it's like, oh, it won't leave them. So I get that, but it just gets to a point where they get so entrenched that some of them, I don't know if they can be helped, you know?
No, I don't think so. Some are irreversible. David June says, cat juice. I don't know if I want to laugh or puke. Yeah.
That was such a
the woman that was hosting it, when she opened up that refrigerator, she fucking went, she screamed, because it was a dead cat.
Rightfully so.
A dead cat on the fucking refrigerator shelf, and underneath it, a couple racks down, was like about an inch of black juice, cat juice. She'd been keeping dead cats in the refrigerator, and fucking she jumped out of her skin when she saw that shit. It was fucking macabre, very macabre.
I mean,
and she was kind of a harmless looking old lady that was doing it. She just, if a cat would die, she couldn't get rid of it. She'd put it in the freezer. When she ran out of fucking room, she'd put them in the refrigerator. But they're mentally ill.
Well, yeah.
And, hold on, I want to talk to him. David, I don't know if you were on the stream earlier. Because I made that fucking triple extra large shirt for you, I decided to make a bigger Pliskin fucking logo. It looks good, man. It's like
8 by 10
tall.
size.
It's big.
Which is the big, you know, that's the size of the screen.
I'm gonna put it on medium-sized shirts too as an option, but it was mostly targeted towards big shirts. So if you ever want another one when you're ready, I'll make you. It'll look a lot better than that. I like that shirt, and that shirt's a good seller. I want to put that on like olive drab or shirt with fucking, you know, like a green OD green shirt maybe with fucking gray or red prints. There's a bunch of shit I could do. But the other two that I was working on today that fucking failed, I got a Tyrell Corporation shirt that Jenny made up. It says Tyrell, more human than human, and it has the Tyrell Corporation logo and Japanese writing on it, because it looks really cool. And the other one was a 13 o'clock shirt that's styled after a Ouija board. You guys are going to see them soon. They'll be done. I got to redo them tomorrow.
Yeah, we got to reshoot those.
Yeah, I had a problem with it.
You didn't expose them long enough.
Either exposure time or dry time, one of the two.
It's always, it's like so fucking delicate, man.
Yeah, and it looked great, except in like one area.
It blew
here and there. Yeah.
You didn't expose it long enough.
I got to expose them for several hours each, and fucking there's gonna be. It's a new emulsion that I'm using. It's blue instead of green, and I think the exposure time's longer on it.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, no need for me to says hoarding would make a little sense if they had practical reasons for the stuff they save. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's in some ways it's like up to a point, it's probably good. Like I said, to save some things or reuse things, you know, that's a totally normal thing to do. But once you're getting to a point where you have so much shit that your water gets turned off, you don't have running water, you don't have plumbing, you don't have any of that kind of shit anymore, and then you're shitting in bags and keeping that too, that's you've kind of gone all the way to crazy town at that point, because there's really no justification. I mean, I understand how it happens. Okay, it's just like everything. It's like a matter of degrees. It's like your frog in boiling water kind of shit. It's like, oh, I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna save these jars. For example, this is something that you save. You save like artichoke heart jars that you can drink out of.
I drink out of them, yeah.
Which, like I said, that's normal. Because you use them.
Yeah.
So I can see like that proclivity to do that, but taken many, many times further than that. And then once it gets to a certain point, because it happens very slowly, all of a sudden you got the water bill, you forgot to pay it because it got buried under stuff, and then like your water got turned off, and then your toilet doesn't work anymore. And at this point, you're too embarrassed to tell anybody. So it's like, well, I'm just going to shit in a bag.
Yeah. Shitbag lady actually they tore her house down.
Shitbag lady.
Shitbag. I'm going to call her shitbag.
Well, yeah.
Her house got torn down.
I think it did get torn down.
It did.
And rightfully so. Well, the floors had collapsed.
Yeah, her house got torn.
It was condemned.
And remember, they told her to fucking hit the road. She left fucking mumbling, kicking rocks.
I think they put her in a facility.
Yeah. Well, it was she became homeless. They shoved that shit on television. She left walking away, mumbling and kicking rocks. Get the fuck out of here. Her whole family, get out of here. So they just left her fucking homeless. No need for me to. If you want a shirt, I don't know what size you want, but you can drop a chat right here, a super chat, and that'll pay for the shirt. And then you can contact Jenny.
Oh, he's a patron too.
Oh, he's a patron? He's a patron. Yeah. You can contact us through Patreon. I'll hook you up.
I'm going to send out another, because I sent out a message on Patreon for all the $20 plus people that are going to get a shirt. But I'll send out another one before we actually finish the shirts.
Yeah, there's just to make
sure that everybody that wanted a shirt get one.
I'm doing all this because we're going to do a Patreon mail out for shirts of people who. So some patrons, if they're $20 and up, are going to get a shirt if they've responded.
Yeah.
And they're going to get a shirt of their choice.
Yeah, because I had 3 different ones.
And I got to know your size and what you want, because for all I know...
And mailing address, because right. I've had some problems, because some people sign up for Patreon and then they're on there and it just kind of like goes without them. Like, and so sometimes the addresses have changed. We had that happen with one patron who had moved a couple times. Yeah. And then several months later, we got the shirt back. And then so I had to like contact her and be like, hey, where do you live now? It's like, I just got this shirt back like 2 months later. You know what I mean? Because they said it was undeliverable. So I ended up like sending it back out to her. So hopefully she's got it by now.
He wants an extra large 13 o'clock. He'll send the address after. Okay.
Okay, that's good.
All right.
Yeah, just send all the info.
Yeah.
Wherever. Instagram, Facebook, wherever.
If you wait a bit, I'm going to have a choice on 13 o'clock shirts. Because I got that new one back there.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we have 2 different 13 o'clock ones. One looks like a Ouija board. One that looks kind of like a, like decorative, like clock kind of thing. And then we have a big Pliskin one. And then we have the Tyrell one.
Yeah.
We probably, so how much of what are the old designs do we have?
Got the one with me and you on it. It's 13 o'clock.
Okay, we still got that.
I got the small Pliskin. I got Wayland, Utani. I got Wayland. I got there's gotta be another one, huh?
We got the one with the Grim Reaper on it, right?
Grim Reaper. Yeah, got
Grim
that's
Reaper
the 13
with
o'clock.
the little ravens. Yeah.
Got that one
still.
And the thing is that there's a couple more. I want to do an infantry type shirt with the infantry cross rifles. I'm going to do that in a kind of a fucking military format for 13 o'clock. And then like a paramilitary version. Remember, I was telling you about that.
Yeah.
And I also want to get a 327 Recon Tiger Force fucking shirt. That'll be good. All right, and then but we'll worry about all that later. There's a couple more I want to come up with. We got time.
Yeah, we're just, I know everything takes forever, but
yeah,
everything takes forever because I essentially have 3 jobs.
Right.
So, right. I get around to shit, but it takes longer than I think sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's just kind of like the cookbook where it's just kind of like, I swear to God, all I have left to do on the fucking cookbook.
Yeah.
I have, I think 5 more pictures of you that I have to cut the backgrounds out. and put them in, and then I just have to like redo the cover real quick. It's done. It's just I have to like fucking do it with the newer photo, and then it'll be finished.
Yeah, no need for me. He's an Army vet, so he wants a military type one. Yeah, I'm gonna do a cool infantry one. It's gonna have a patriotic theme. It'll have the 13 o'clock fucking label in the back. All the shirts that I make have on the backs also says 13 o'clock.
Yeah, I made like a new little like logo thing with all the thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I thought of today? As if I didn't already have, like, because this is the thing. I feel like I'm busy and I'm stressed out all the time, but it's always kind of like shit that we came up with, and it's like, oh, we should do this, and then I'm just kind of like, oh my god, now I have like 40 million things to do. Today, I don't know why I thought of this. I was like, you know what I should do? Because if you guys have been watching, I do that Flickers of Fear thing, which is where I review movies just to like on my own and have this massive list. I was kind of like, you know what I should do? Like for Halloween or for October, I should do a movie review for every day of October. And because I see like a lot of horror channels have done that, like 31 Days of Halloween. And then I was kind of like, oh, well, maybe I should start now, because then I would have like 31 of them and I could put them all up like one every day, like in October, right? Mm-hmm. And then I was just kind of like, why the fuck am I making so much more work for myself? But it's a cool idea though. I even made a list like earlier, like all the movies I wanted to do. I don't know, maybe I'll do it.
Yeah.
But I just kind of, I know it's only April, but I was just, May. It's May. I don't even know what month it is. But I was just kind of like, well, maybe I should start it now, because then by the time October comes, then I'll already have a month worth of stuff that I could record ahead of time,
Yeah. Yeah, no need for me. I gotta I'm gonna have a couple of military designs, paramilitary type design. One of them's gonna be a 1327 Recon Tiger Force shirt. I was in that unit, so I have a right to give it to you. I get to sell it and give it to people as a gift of the show. And Tiger Force, I was in Tiger Force. Our history was classified up until recently, and they started to fucking declassify the history of the Vietnam theater. You can see that shit on Wikipedia. It's out of context now, make you sound really fucking bad. But yeah, my unit fucking we were the ones that fucking trademarked all that ear taking and doing bad things to people. They were out guerrillaing the guerrillas, working with fucking South Vietnamese forces and doing shit. No one was ever convicted of anything, and they were accused of a lot of stuff. It's not stated there, but they were working for in those days my unit was working for Mac V SOG and CIA was telling them to do stuff. That's why there were no convictions. They were just trying to out brutalize. It was like something straight out of Apocalypse Now back in that theater. But it was a good unit. There was only 40 of us. Let me go to the restroom. Yeah, a second.
I was just gonna ask you if I could go, but I guess
I'll be when I come back. Hold on.
But yeah, so all right. So what was I talking about? Okay, so I don't know. I guess tonight maybe I might watch some more Hoarders, but I don't know. It makes me so mad. It's almost kind of like the one that we watched, the one that Tom was like talking about earlier with the cats in the refrigerator. I have like, I can watch a lot of gross shit, but that just made me start gagging and I couldn't stop gagging. It's kind of like, if you guys ever watch, because we've talked about like Dan Bell, and he's kind of, best on YouTube for his Dead Mall videos. But he also does a series called ADR, Another Dirty Room. And him and his compatriots will go and stay in like the grossest motel rooms in America. And they do like a room breakdown. So they'll pull back all the sheets. They'll take all the pillows out of the fucking... they have luminol. They have the black lights. They have everything. They have the thing that you like take swabs and then stick it in the machine and it tells you how much fucking bacteria is on there. And for some reason, like, I love that show, even though every single fucking time, every single episode of that show I watch makes me want to throw up. I mean, a couple of times I've watched that and I was just kind of like, and I had to like run to the bathroom and stuff. Especially the one he did one like a couple months back that was like the 10 grossest moments or whatever it was. And it's like, I couldn't get through it. I watched like part of it and I'm just like, yeah, I'm barfing forever. And it was just, I mean, there was shit like this one motel room they stayed in. I mean, because they stay in some fucking crack dens, right? I mean, and they've actually found bags full of, fucking hypodermic needles and like fucking meth and shit like that. One time they found a plastic bag full of like used ladies' underwear under a bed. That was nice. One of the grossest things I ever saw on that shit was somebody had opened the drawer on the nightstand, right? Like where the Gideon Bible usually is. Somebody had opened the drawer and thrown up in it and then closed the drawer. And nobody cleaned it for however long. So when they like opened the drawer, there's like just dry, like caked vomit, like all over the bottom of it. And I was just like, oh no. I just couldn't. Oh my God, It was so nasty. I mean, anything to do with like barf or like when they go in the fucking bathroom and there's like fucking shit smears like on the fucking toilet seat or whatever. And also when they turn on the black lights and then there's like fucking cum stains all over the wall. Holy crap. Like what the
Some
fuck?
fucking serious shit going on.
What the fuck is up with like there was this
hookers, crackhead hookers.
Well, I don't even know if it's hookers. Well, it is, but it's like there was this one room they went in and somebody, I don't know who.
What do you know?
I don't know if he was trying to like do a fucking Guinness Book of World Records shit or something.
Ask me to let her out.
What's the matter, Pokey? It's still light out and it's hot. You're not gonna like it. I'm telling you right now. She doesn't care. And it's like she'll scratch and scratch, and then we open the door and then she sticks her head out and she's like, oh, it's hot out. And I'm like, yeah, we told you. But then she forgets like 10 minutes later. She's like, no, I want to go outside. And then she's like, oh, fuck this. But yeah. So they did the fucking the black light like all over the room. It looked like somebody had sat at the desk. Because you know how in some motel rooms they have that little kind of tabletop that's like bolted to the wall and then they have like a chair. It looked like somebody had sat in that chair and jerked off underneath this desk multiple times, or multiple people had done it because they did the black light and there's just fucking jizz all over the underside.
You entertaining everybody.
Yeah, and I was just kind of like, oh my God. And well, the best thing about the show is that Dan Bell, I love him.
Yeah.
And he just like, I love whenever something happens like that, like in the show, he's like, oh my God. And he just like gets fucking so worked up about it. It's so fucking funny.
So she takes me out to the fucking sliding door.
I knew that was going to happen.
And goes, nah.
I told you.
She goes up to the front door.
I told them.
So she's like, goes to the front door and I open it up and she goes, nah. And I went, Pookie, what are you doing?
It's
I raised my hand.
Outside.
And I'm walking away from her and she looks at me like, what, you mad? Yeah, I'm mad. Yeah, I'm mad. What, you mad? So she's over here trying to apologize.
Why is it hot outside? Why don't you fix it? She wants us to
turn it down. Turn it down. It's hot out there.
Plus, she thinks back outside and front outside are two different things.
I think those are different outsides. Yes.
Well, because hilarious. What she'll do, she'll be in the bedroom because we have like a sliding glass door in the bedroom, right? And she'll go and she's like, she'll scratch on the sliding glass door, and then you open it. She's like, no, I don't want to go out of the door. I want to go out the front door. She wants to sit on the front porch. So then she'll scratch like to make noise until she gets your attention, and then she's like, no, and then she goes, pew, and then she runs to the front door. And then you open the front door, and then she's like, "Nope, I don't like that either. Yeah. I don't like that either."
Yeah, well, she thinks it's gonna be. Show her the back door, and she's like, "Ah, it's too hot. Let's check the front."
Yeah, maybe it's different.
And go to the front. And go, oh no, it's hot out here.
Well,
too.
she's just checking.
Yeah,
she's just checking.
Might be a different outside.
It might be a different outside. Yeah. Well, like I said, when we first moved in this house, I think every single door, Beijing thought it was a different outside.
Yeah, she had to go out every fucking door that led outside.
She had to check, and she's like, "Well, no, I don't like this either."
Yeah.
And then, like, if you let her out, because Beijing is like big and fluffy.
Yeah.
And we lived here for a few years before we got Pookie, so we had Beijing first. And she would go outside like reluctantly, and then she'd look back at us like, "What did you guys do?
Yeah, why did you fuck this up?
Why is it so hot outside?" She'd be like that.
Yeah, she blamed me for the temperature.
She did, yeah.
She'd look at me like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah,
I didn't do it. Fucking turn it down.
She thinks you did it, though. Yeah. That's what's so funny. Yeah. And it's funny because I was on my hike this morning.
What you doing, Poke?
She's like, I don't know. You gonna beat up Baby Yoda?
Yeah.
She hasn't bothered Baby Yoda since that one time when she just like jumped and like fucking knocked him on the ground. If you guys remember that. That was pretty epic. But yeah, so I was out on my hike this morning and I saw Mr. McGuire, formerly known as Path Kitty. And they told me, like, because I don't know, but I know people that like, jog or walk their dogs or whatever, like, because I see the same people every morning. So this guy that always walks, like, his wife feeds the cat too, but she comes out earlier than me. So she said that Mr. McGuire had got a rat this morning. Because what happens with Mr. McGuire, he's like real fluffy, right? And he's a barn cat, so he lives outside. On his sides, like his hair's all matted.
Yeah.
And today, like, because I keep saying, man, I really need to bring some scissors so I can like get this off of here. But it looks like somebody did that because on one side of him, there's still like a little bit of a mat, but it looks like somebody had cut off one side of the mat. But the other side of the mat, there's like this big hunk of fur, and I don't know if he did it or if somebody else did it.
No.
But the fur is kind of like the mat is kind of like pulled away, so you can see his skin. It's like down to the skin. You know what I mean? And then this morning there was like a little bit of blood on there, so I don't know if he pulled it off or if the rat pulled it off, because like the lady said that he'd caught a rat that morning. I don't really know.
Pookie's her nickname. I'm talking to people in there. T's asking how we named these cats. Okay, I named the cats. Well, the first cat, Beijing, I named. At that time, this was a long time ago now.
Yeah, this was before I met you even.
Yeah.
Because you had her when I started going out with you.
I was working at the barn as a handler at that time. And one of the students was a high school girl named Candace. We called her Candy, Little Candy. I knew her mom, Big Candy. All right?
Little Candy,
Little
Big
Candy, and Big Candy. Big Candy was Visago's attorney, defense attorney. What was his name?
Oh, the vampire guy?
The vampire killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was
Rod Farrell?
Rod Farrell. So it was Rod Farrell's attorney's daughter.
There you go.
Came up to me and goes, Tom. Candy's in England now. She's a professional fucking English equestrian. Rides other people's horses. Real expensive shit. Okay. Tom, they're gonna kill it. And I was like, what? Take it. They're gonna kill it. And I said, what are you talking about? She had this little kitten in her hands.
Oh.
And she's going, if nobody adopts the cat, they're gonna kill it. And she got it out of some house that they were trying to get rid of all these little kittens. And she gave it to me. I said, okay. I said, give me that cat. No.
Well, that's what, I mean, if anybody came up to me and said, they're going to get, I'm just like, give me it.
So I took the cat, and it was on the day of the opening of the Beijing Olympics.
Yeah.
That's when that happened. So
that name suits her, though.
So I called her Beijing. Yeah.
Or Beige.
They're going to kill it.
We call her Beige. Or Princess Fluff Ass. That's what I call her. Because she has this, like, she's super fluffy. And if you look at her, like, walking from the back, like, she has this massive, like, fluffy butt.
Now, Pookie, a Brazilian woman had Pookie. Okay. And sent me a video.
She said that she
told a story.
We don't know if the story's true.
Yeah, the story's not true. She's a Brazilian.
She said, we found this kitten, and she was Pookie was very, very small. Her eyes were still blue.
Yeah.
She said, I found her in the backyard, and there was like a dog was chewing on her or something. Yeah,
a dog bit her tail off. And
bit her
She
tail
gave
off.
me this fucking sob story, and she sent me a video of Pookie. Pookie was like the size of a fucking baseball.
And he showed it to me, and I'm like, oh, we're having
that. And Pookie's in a bird cage, fucking playing with something.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I'll take it. I didn't pay it.
We had been thinking about getting a kitten anyway.
So I said, okay, I'll take it. And she was keeping it in the garage. It had been there for a couple
because
days.
she had dogs, and
Yeah.
she's like, I don't want the dogs to eat
She
the kitten.
had some kind of fucking crazy ass name for it, like Simba something or other, meant bravery, you know. And
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Fighting the dogs, and it was a fucking, you know, a very strong little boy cat. And that was a girl. Later on, I was like, man, the cat's a girl. And then
Yeah, she told us it was a boy.
and I'm looking at the cat, and fucking I classified the cat as a Manx, and it's just like any other Manx. And fucking the vet says, "Oh, that cat never had its fucking tail cut off." That's just the way they are.
That's just the way her tail is. She's a stumpy
So
Manx.
it's just a story, and it's, you know, Brazilian girl's gonna tell you a story. They just are.
So for a long time, we thought, oh my God, this poor kitten. Like, she got a bit. I mean, she did get abandoned by her mom, but she was just found in the backyard, and there was like a dog chewing on her dog, chew her tail off and stuff. And then like later on, I was just kind of like, wait a minute.
Yeah, no.
I don't think she ever had a tail.
No, she never had a tail.
So
and then so we got the cat, and during that time, I said, man, I'm changing that name. And we had that cat in the bed with us, and the cat was looking at us like, who are you people? It was funny when we first got her, and she started sleeping with us because she was in a garage in a bird cage.
I mean, she was little
bitty thing.
Little.
So Jenny was watching this fucking YouTube channel, and it was called what was it called?
Well, it's Beer and Board Games.
Yeah, Beer and Board Games. And there's a character on Beer and Board Games. It's just a little baby doll called
Baby Cookie.
Baby Cookie. Baby Cookie's a little white baby from the hood.
Yeah.
And
who pops in occasionally.
She smokes. She's a baby, and she smokes, and she
drinks.
She drinks, and she has sex and everything.
Yeah, it's
and
funny.
she just says all kinds of funny jokes, and when they do the little jokes of Baby Cookie. So her real name is Baby Cookie, but over time, we started just calling her Pookie.
Well, okay, so the thing about that is that we couldn't decide on a name for her for a really long time because I was just kind of like, I want a name that like fits her. Because Beijing, her name fits her. It's like, it's a very regal name, and she's a very regal kitty. She's a rag doll, and she's like super fluffy. And so when we first got Pookie, I was kind of like, we need to know her personality. Like, I want a name that, you know, evokes her. So for a long time, we couldn't think of anything. It's like, I was kind of like, and, you know, the lady that gave her to us, like, thought she was a boy. Yeah. And then we only had her for maybe like a few days, and Tom was like, I'm pretty sure that's a female cat.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we took her to get fixed, they were like, yeah, that's a female. I was like, yeah, that's what we thought. Because I don't know. It was just like, she struck us as a girl cat. So we kind of went through a whole bunch of different names. The one I remember we called her Otter Pop for a while because the way her little tail stuck out when she was little, it was like this little square that stuck out of her butt. And it kind of looked like, if you guys remember those fucking, what are those? The Otter Pop things, like those icy like popsicle things. Yeah. And like, that's what her tail looked like. Yeah. So we called her that for a little while, and I'm like, that's okay for now, but it's like, that's not really her name.
Tila,
but then, what?
Tila Ebony Supermodel has just sent us a fucking super chat.
Oh, I'm behind.
$15 says,
oh, thank you.
Beijing and Pookie's mom, Tease, Furry Babies, Simon. Oh, from Tease, Furry Babies, Simon, Marley, and Leo.
Bet you can't read.
No, I can't. I can't read. I can read. Beijing and Pookie from Tease, Furry Babies.
Yeah,
Simon,
and
Marley,
so so finally, like, we were kind of like, we were watching Beer and Board Games, and they have that character on there who's a baby, but also kind of like a gangsta.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, that seems kind of like what she's like.
They're saying
because she's like a baby, but she's kind of a tomboy, and she's kind of like a clown, and she's kind of tough. Yeah. So I was like, that's kind of a good name. So we called her Cookie for a little while, but then I started calling her Pookie as a term of endearment. Like her name's Baby Cookie, but she is a Pookie. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? And I kind of got that from the old Garfield comic, because that was the name of Garfield's teddy bear. And she looks a little bit like a teddy bear. So I think that's why I thought of it. But we barely even call her Baby Cookie anymore. Yeah. Now she's just Pookie, Pookster, Pookarama. Yeah. Super Pookie. Pookie Pants. Yeah. I mean, just thank you, Tila.
Yeah.
I mean, we just call her like variations. One time we had been talking about H.P. Lovecraft earlier in the day, and I accidentally called her Pukatonic University.
Yeah, Pukatonic University.
Like it just came out before I realized what I said.
Pukatonic.
So, you know, it's that kind of thing. No, what you talked to her and her little like stump goes back and forth.
She looked at me and went, Blake tries no.
Her little stump goes back and forth.
Yeah. Oh. She's blinking.
Are you blinking?
She's blinking. You can get out, right? No? She's good.
But yeah, it's like, it's kind of like, for a long time, like I said, we thought that her tail had been bitten off of her or that she was injured.
Yeah.
But the more we looked into it, I mean, she has pretty much every single personality. If you look up a Manx cat, every personality thing that they have on the Manx cat, that's exactly what she's like. And she's also another thing that like Manx cats have, they're very small. Like in comparison, she's a lot smaller than Beijing. Beijing is not as big as she appears just because she's so fluffy. But Pookie is really little for being, she's almost 4.
Your chat is so far behind.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
Well, I'm not touching anything. I told you.
Okay.
Because if you touch something, it'll fuck something up.
I'm going to the restroom. Hold on.
That's what I told you.
They're saying I'm drunk, but I'm not hat wearing drunk. No, I got a hat on, Sandra.
I know, it's like he brought the whole like thing of hats in here and then he forgot all about them. I guess like in the fucking issue of all the fucking technical issues we were having. You know, I don't know. I'm going to get him to wear one of my wigs one of these days. We'll see. But yeah, so we looked up like the Manx stuff and I was like, oh my God, that sounds exactly like her. And she's, like I said, she'll be 4 this summer. And she is small for a cat. I mean, she's pretty small. She's kind of like, her body is like normal size, but she has like this little round head and these little bitty short legs. You know what I mean? Which, like I said, that's a very Manx thing. And also she's real puppy-like. Like she's always she's not aloof. Like Beijing is like your typical, man, fuck you guys. She's like Paris Hilton. She's like the Paris Hilton of cats. You know what I mean? That's what we always used to say. She's just like a princess. She doesn't want to sit in your lap. She doesn't want you to pet her. It's like you can pet her, but she'll complain. She just wants to like luxuriate on her thing and go, look how pretty I am. Aren't I pretty? She's like that. Pookie is not like that. Pookie is like a little punk rocker. You know what I mean? She's like this little bitty, she has these little stumpy legs, this little stumpy tail, this little round head, and she is just gonna like, she's like, yeah, she's like that. She's kind of like a little fucking, she's a little fighter. She kind of like, she wants to beat up on Beijing, and it's like, she's not, when we used to have that other cat that lived here, that was Tom's stepdad's cat, Garbo. And he was like a big black cat, and he was like really, really old, and he was really overweight. So at some point, like he couldn't really walk around that much anymore because he was so fat and he was kind of sick. And so he would just kind of lay there. And when we first got Pookie, she just thought she thought that Garbo was a ride at Disneyland because Garbo would just be laying there. She'd be like, woo, he's not going to do anything. Okay, awesome. And she would just like jump on him. She would jump on his head. She'd like pull on his ears and and Garbo couldn't really do that much about it. He just kind of put up with it. He was just kind of like, oh, okay. At least somebody's playing with me. It was just that kind of, it was that kind of.
Did go out.
She did?
I didn't want to do it.
Okay.
I keep going through the kitchen and I keep passing by that big old pot of Swedish meatballs that I made.
Well, we can have some after.
I'm like going, God damn, those Swedish meatballs fucking were good.
You gotta talk. You talk about Pookie because I gotta go.
Oh, so you're gonna tell me what I'm gonna talk about.
You could talk about.
I gotta talk about Pookie. I want to talk about Swedish meatballs, man.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you've been to the bathroom like 3 or 4 times. I haven't been one time.
It's because I'm a man.
Yeah, you have like.
Because I'm a man.
Bladder. You have a tiny bladder.
We don't need big bladders. We can just whip that shit out and just go wherever we need to go. You know what I mean? Got a damn built-in dispenser system. You know. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I made some Swedish meatballs today. And what was funny is that I had this big old thing of hamburger I got from Sam's. and I had to get it in the freezer, but it was too fucking big. So I had to cut it into 3 pieces and use at least 1 piece to make this big old pot of meatballs, you know. So the rest of it, you know, I could put it in bags and get that in the freezer. Got to get that shit frozen, you know, especially with all this fucking weird ass fuel problems with fucking pipelines and all this weird shit that's going on. And the coming fucking civil war or whatever this is. So I had to get that fucking meat cooked, you know. So I made Swedish meatballs. So I was kind of lying to myself. I was like, I got to make these meatballs, but I don't want to go through all this fucking problem of fucking soaking up bread and making breadcrumbs and fucking using up the fucking bread that I got. I'm going to use that can of just plain breadcrumbs I already have. So I dumbed this recipe down. I just fucking dumbed it all the way down. I just soaked breadcrumbs in fucking dry powdered milk, you know, Nido, and put that in there with the seasoning and the meat, and fucking churned it with the eggs, made a nice soft meatballs, dumbed it down. I just put them in pans and baked them.
You said soft meatballs.
Yeah, making them, you like them soft meatballs. So I dumbed everything down. I was like, these are probably not going to be that good.
What are you talking about? They were delicious.
And then I made the sauce. By the time the sauce was done, those meatballs were baked. I baked them. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to fucking brown them in a pan. And you're supposed to kind of like bake them in a pan full of fucking sauce after they're browned. Fuck that. I dumbed all that down.
Fuck that.
I baked them just in fucking glass pans and then added them to the sauce. Just really fucking simple. And then just let them simmer. Man, it was good. Got a lot of them left. It was
really good.
The dumbed down version of the Swedish meatballs, I think, were better than the fucking than my normal, more complicated version. Sometimes simple's better.
Although I cannot believe how much allspice we put in that.
Yeah, and it's still, you notice that it still was a little bit under-seasoned, I think. There was a lot of meat.
It was, yeah.
But what was good is, you know, I don't have any blackcurrant jelly, because that shit is so good with blackcurrant jelly.
It is, yeah.
I forgot all about it, but you can use grape with the fucking white creamy gravy. Creamy gravy, it was start off with roux, add sour cream, and then I put cream, then parsley. Shit was good. I already had spaghetti linguine already cooked up from a couple days before. Instead of bow tie pasta, I just put it on fucking spaghetti, like white spaghetti. It was good.
You can put on mashed potatoes too.
Yeah,
which I thought about, but I was kind of like, well, we already had that pasta made, so might as well.
I got bow ties. I got bow ties.
I got bow ties.
You got bow, yeah. But you know, I didn't really need it. You could use bow tie. There were bow tie egg noodles.
Yeah, okay. Like I said,
that's what you're really supposed to eat it with. But I kind of like them better with mashed potatoes.
Yeah, I like them with mashed. That's my favorite thing. But you know, we already had pasta made, and I was kind of like, it's dumb to like leave all that pasta in the refrigerator, and when we could just eat it with that. I feel like Tila said something about that she had a cat that would fight full-size dogs.
Yeah. Some cats aren't afraid of anything.
One thing, Pookie is not. She's little.
She's never been hurt, so she's not afraid of anything.
She is not afraid of anything. Yeah. She's not afraid of us. She's not afraid of Beijing. She's not. Now, if strangers come over the house, she'll hide under the bed for a little while and like look out, like, what is this all about? But I mean, the few times she was outside and there was like animals and shit in the backyard, she just kind of like went up to that shit and was like, what's this all about? You know what I mean? She's not afraid of anybody. It's funny because Beijing, you can imagine when we first got Pookie, when she was, and like I said, she was very small. I think she was only 8 weeks old. Her eyes were still blue. You know, so she was quite little. I have a video of her from way back then when we first thought she was a boy. I think it was only the first or second day that we had her. And she was kind of hiding under the bed, but she was kind of coming out and like playing with shit. And even from then, like Beijing was super not happy about it because she's like, what? I'm the baby. I don't like this. There's a new baby.
Yeah.
Everybody's paying attention to that. I'm not happy about it.
But she kind of became the old lady, though.
Because before that, I mean, Beijing's always been real aloof. I mean, ever since, I mean, she's what, 12, 13 years old now?
Yeah, she doesn't even like you picking her up anymore.
Yeah, if you pick her up now, she's like,
She get totally indignant.
She won't anything, but she'll just be like, God, why? She'll be like that.
I bleached that kitchen floor today, and she went fucking crazy. She loves the smell of bleach. She tried to fuck the damn mop. Just
yeah, she's super into like Beijing loves bleach more than catnip.
Oh yeah, it's much more than catnip.
Big time.
She goes crazy.
I think I have a video that of the last time, like one time when I bleached our bathroom. And she came in there and she was just rolling she rolled all over the floor. She rolled over the shower mat. She was just like, oh my God.
That bleach had her fucked up. She was rolling around high off the bleach and I'm petting her. And every time I fucking pet her, she's...
I know I could hear her.
I was
in here in the office and I was like, what the hell is the matter with her? And he's like, I'm bleaching stuff. And I was like,
yeah. She was telling me how good it was. It was so good. It was making her mad. Yeah. And it's like I thought she was just like had some problems. No. But when I looked it up, it's like apparently some cats ragdolls like that.
And ragdolls in particular, which she is, are really, really into bleach smell.
She'd roll around and you're petting her and she's furious and
she can't take it.
She can't take it, but it's like some kind of a weird sexual fucking thing going on and she's
like more than like picture like you know how catnip, you know how they get all like fucking high on shit? Yeah, it's like that, but worse. Like 10 times worse. Yeah. I mean, she just like rolls around. She's like, she's oh my God, she fucking loves it.
I didn't get that shit on video. I'll post it up on the show.
I have a video, but it's not. I missed like the best part of it because I was running to get my kids. I'm like, oh my God, look what she's doing. That I ran to get my camera. And
she won't bite you, but she kind of you can feel like she wants to, but she won't. It's not anger. It's ecstasy.
Yeah.
She just can't take it.
So it's like every time we clean the bathroom, like with bleach, it's like you have to kind of like keep her away from it. Because I don't want her drinking the shit or licking it off the floor.
She's insane.
But Pookie doesn't really seem to care about bleach. But Beijing fucking loves it, man. She just wants it all over her fur. She'll roll all over the floor. I don't get it. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it. But like I said, I guess it's not completely unprecedented because I have, when I searched it, like I Googled it and some people did say that their cats like went crazy for bleach and particularly ragdolls do. Yeah. And that's what she is. But
T, you need to start your own channel, T, you and your husband.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's talkative. She'll get in the damn comment sections. She'll keep me fucking talking too. You know
I'm talkative as well. Well, I'm only talkative when I drink.
Yeah.
And then it's like the next day I don't remember anything that I said.
Talking. There's always, I mean, we got a lot of good listeners and stuff and patrons.
Yeah, you guys are cool.
It's kind of like when you're doing the show, you're looking into the stream, and you're kind of like focusing on who's talking the most and people that are making good comments, and it makes it easier on us because it feels like I'm just doing the show for only like a couple people instead of like a bunch of them. Some of these things get thousands of hits.
Well, it's always easier to like.
It's easier to focus. Like
I have to say that some of you guys in the chat are like funnier than we are.
Yeah. So I was saying T needs her own show.
So some of you guys should totally start your own channel because you're easily funnier than we are.
Yeah.
Because you come up with like some fucking funny ass comments that like fucking crack me up. But yeah, so Tila said that's how Pino was. Yeah. She hated other cats, most humans, and all dogs. You were lucky if she liked you. I mean, Pookie is she's pretty friendly, but like I said, if we have like friends over or strangers over, she doesn't like that. She's wary. But if you hang out for an hour or two, then she'll be like, all right, I'll come out and like you can pet me. That's cool. But the weird thing is that Beijing, you remember when Sophie came over? Yeah. Beijing immediately
jumped up on and tried to climb. And
like I said, Beijing is very aloof. Yeah. It's like she will sit in my lap every now and then if she's lonely. Like she'll come in the office and be like, "Hey, okay." But if you try to pet her, she's like, ugh.
Sophie came twice though, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the second time Sophie came, Beijers was just...
As soon as Sophie came in the house.
I remember you, yeah.
As soon as she came in the house.
Yeah, she tried to climb up her.
Yeah, she was like...
Yeah. I remember you.
And then she was hugging.
Yeah. It was,
and she was like rolling around in her clothes.
And screaming and shit, yeah.
Which I never saw that before.
No.
But she will come up, like, Beijing is like, in a way, she's aloof, but she's more curious than Pookie, because if you come over, like, Beijing will come, she won't necessarily come up to you, although she did to Sophie, but, like, when our friends come over, she'll come up and, like, smell your bags, like, if you have a purse or something, or a coat or something, like, she'll come up and, like, lay in that and be like, and like check that out, and then she'll be like, all right, you're all right.
We had a wild party over here one time, a whole fucking goth scene.
I remember that party. That was a
Dimitri
fun party.
came, set up his fucking DJ equipment. We had fucking lights and fucking smoke machines in here, fucking setting off the damn smoke detectors. I didn't realize that a smoke machine would set off the smoke detectors, but it did once it got fucking strong enough.
Yeah, well.
The neighbors were like, what the fuck is going on in that
At
house?
least nobody called the police on us.
Yeah, and...
I was afraid of that.
Yeah, and fucking Bezos was hiding. She didn't want to go. She's
like,
out.
no, fuck this.
Got another super chat.
But if a couple people come over, she just comes out and, like, smells your bags.
Dom the Bomb gave us £4.99.
Awesome. Thank you, Dom the Bomb.
Said Tom and Jenny, thanks for the great show as usual. Thank you very much. Giving us those British money. The British monies. Yeah. Pound sterling. £5 sterling.
That sounds like it sounds so awesome. It sounds like it weighs something.
It sounds like it's worth more.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, it reminds me of back in the old days when my dad used to have like some silver bars. You know what I mean? Which I used to be like fascinated by, even though they weren't worth anything back then, really. But he had a few of them.
Yeah, Sophie was gonna come. She was gonna come to back. What was that, about a month ago? But she had family problems, and and then she had a new job that she was starting up, so she couldn't make it. She's doing some kind of contract right now for like a local government agency, paperwork stuff.
I mean, probably if you're gonna come down to Florida, it's better to like not come in the summertime. I'm not gonna lie.
Unless you like beach stuff, and
unless you like being
out.
Sticky and sweaty and having swamp ass all the time.
It's not that bad, Jenny.
Yes, it is.
You have people that come here for the summer, and then to sit out on a pool and drink tropical drinks and swim and get sun, and there are some people that like it. It's just that you don't like it.
Well, yeah, but the thing about it is that if you're just on vacation for a week or two and you're just laying by a pool and like drinking margaritas and shit, it's probably pretty awesome then,
Esther,
especially if you came from somewhere cold. But if you have to live here all the time,
Esther has sent us
not so fun.
$10.
Thank you, Esther.
Thank you, Jenny and Tom, for being you. And she sent us $9.99.
Oh, everybody's doing
playing these damn games. Everybody's playing these goddamn games.
My chat's way behind, so he has.
Her chat's way behind.
Yeah, it is. Because I'm not gonna say anything, because if I say something sideways, then like I'll lose the stream.
Yeah,
again.
no need for me to. So I was wondering who the hot goth girl was hanging out in the background when I was new. Yeah, that's Sophie.
Yeah.
Sophie was a listener.
Yeah, well, still is.
Yeah, she's
in the chat sometimes. I don't see her
today.
Not
here tonight. She was a listener, and then it turned out that her sister is friends with the little sister of one of my best friends growing up when I was growing up in Michigan.
Yeah.
So we're actually from the same neighborhood in a way.
Yeah.
So Soph is kind of like extended family. And it's funny because she just found us at random as a listener. But that was just a weird coincidence.
It's a small world after all.
Not really, I think. I think certain people, I think the force, there's guidance behind the force. There's something about people that come from like environments in the past gravitate.
Well,
so you're likely to meet people who were in some way connected to you.
Well, because you have like a cultural similarity.
Yeah, cultural.
And so you're going to be into the same kind of stuff, so you're going to gravitate to the same kind of things.
And I think I had mentioned Michigan and Detroit.
Yeah.
And she's from the goth scene.
Yeah.
I think that was the beginning of it. So she started to become a listener, and then it turned out that we have roots in the same area. I'm not from there, but I moved there
But
later
you lived
for high
there
school.
for a while,
for later. And I fucking had a good club scene back in the late 80s before I joined the Army. I went to high school there for 2 years. I liked Michigan. I couldn't live in Michigan today. There's just not enough going on. You know what I mean? I don't like to be that far north. Yeah, I prefer the South. I've been all over the United States and the world. Even I had a good time in Boston. I couldn't live there now though. I couldn't live in New York City, even though I liked New York City. I liked New Yorkers better than Bostonians, actually.
I always liked New York City.
They're a little more hard edge. I like them a little more realistic people.
Well, they're kind of cranky, and I'm kind of cranky.
Yeah, a lot of people that were in Boston were not from Boston. They moved there to go to school when I was there, and they're all trying to be something that they're not. They're kind of touristy and hoity-toity and fucking
the thing that New Yorkers, and I think this is the reason why a lot of people, particular types of people, like New York, is just because it's a very no bullshit kind of place. You know what I mean?
Well,
which is something that I really liked about it.
New York is the metropolitan version of Mississippi. They're not fucking playing around a lot of time. The ones that were born and raised there. A lot of people just move there.
They'll just tell you shit to your face, and it's like they're not worried about whether you don't like it or not. Yeah,
that's like that new guy who's trying to become. I think it's the mayor. That black dude. He was telling all these fucking, because fucking New York's fucked up right now, and he's turned around and he's fucking blaming all the people that moved there in the past 15 years. You guys moved into our shit. You guys fucked it up, and now you want to run after you fucking fucked it up. And we're staying here. We got to fix this shit. That was fucking hilarious. I don't think he's won yet, but that dude actually does need to be the mayor. I forgot his name, but he's just a black New Yorker, and he fucking told the truth. Y'all bitches moved here from California and fucked our city up, and then you ran.
I don't know. I always liked it there. It's not as scuzzy as it was in the 70s, and I understand that had some kind of charm to it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've been there many times, and I've always really liked it. Yeah. You know, it's kind of dirty, but that's okay. That's okay.
Actually, I think old New York, me and you would have liked that better.
Probably, although, like I said,
I liked Detroit when Detroit was a post-apocalyptic.
Like I said, it did have a kind of charm to it.
Yeah,
it did.
Post-apocalyptic Detroit was pretty cool because I got an entire floor out of a building that had a fucking drive-in cattle slaughter elevator. It was a cattle slaughterhouse that had been converted into like a 4-story, like apartments, but they weren't really apartments. Each floor was an apartment. I only paid like $350 a month for it. I would drive my car into the cattle lift, and then it would take me up to my floor, and I'd drive it into my apartment. And none of the fucking floor plan made any goddamn sense. It was like something out of a Skinny Puppy video. It was fucking cool. There was no heating or air conditioning. You just had to fucking suck it up. You needed to fucking had to plug in and that. And then I was there for like a year and never paid electricity.
Interesting.
Never paid any utilities. Nobody ever asked me. I just paid.
Well, see, this is why they had such a good, this is why they had all those fucking awesome bands and shit like that. Because they were all squatters. They all had that kind of like situation.
It was during the Crow era.
Yeah, where it's just kind of like you just move into a building. It's like, has anybody noticed that I'm not here? I'm not paying bills? Okay, awesome.
Well, they had whole abandoned skyscrapers. If you were brave enough to move into them, they had abandoned houses you could move into that looked brand new. And they were Victorian style. Brick Victorian era fucking Victorian style fucking houses. Now those neighborhoods are all torn down now, but when I was there, you could just move into a random place.
Well, like I said,
and it would have power. That was the weirdest thing. It would have power and water.
Yeah,
and you wouldn't know who owned it, and they had people doing that. And it was.
I mean, shit, if you could live somewhere for free and
City Club, St. Andrews Hall, the shelter, and that's where that's where the fucking beginning of the fucking goth fixation happened, going down to City Club, seeing them slutty ass girls in the fucking fishnets and underwear, fishnet stockings and fucking.
It all comes back to the sluts.
Sluttiness. And I showed up and I go, man, I'm not cool enough for this shit. And fucking, I'm not cool enough for this shit. I had a good time there, though. That was the beginning of the saga. I was fucking seeing dude some Skinny Puppy there, right there. I didn't even know who the fuck they were. Yeah, Skinny Puppy. That's a cool name for a band. You know, I didn't know who I was dealing with.
Oh my God, you were such a dork.
Well, you know, about a year later, you know, it was about a year later, fucking I was a little bit more on top of the game, but then I fucking went to the Army.
Yeah.
Well, I moved back to Mississippi for a few months and then went to the Army. When the fucking war broke out, I was like, man, I gotta go to this. I gotta go to the fucking first Gulf War. So, you know, boy does what he does, you know.
A boy does what he does.
Boy does what he does.
I need another drink, man.
Yeah.
Is your shit empty?
No, not yet.
Are we still going?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still going there.
Thank you, Esther. This is the... Well, that's what I mean. Like, my shit's way behind. So it's like if I'm kind of like way fucking... I was like, he's got his chat over there, which I'm glad, but my shit is probably like fucking 5 or 10 minutes behind. So I'm sorry about that. Because my shit keeps... It keeps freezing up, but I just keep on going because I don't want it to... You know what I mean? So it's like, that's why I keep looking at shit, because I'm looking at my laptop and my laptop is not moving. So I'm always kind of like, is it still going? Is it still going? Then I have to look over there and I'm like, okay, it's still going. But yeah. So even that, it's like, and the thing about it too is that even my OBS is like, even when it's running correctly, which it's not, it's 10 seconds behind. There's a 10-second lag. So he's like always 10 seconds ahead of me. But now he's probably like 5 or 10 minutes ahead just because I've had it freeze up on me so many times.
That computer is not processing but very fast.
Yeah, clearly. Well, like I said, for the live stream, I might have to like tone down the resolution. Maybe that would help. But I'll do that for Friday's show. I'll try it out because I mean, I don't have it at like maximum fucking resolution or anything. It's not like I'm trying to like stream the shit at fucking super HD. I'm just like at regular. But I don't know. I don't want it to look like crap, but I don't know. I don't know what else to do at this point because I don't know. I told him, I was like, dude, just like a few months ago, I just paid like $300 something for this, which is a lot of money. And it's just not working. And that really, really makes me mad when I spend $300 something on something and it doesn't work the way it's supposed to. And there's really nothing else on this computer. The only thing I use this laptop for is streaming. Because I have this computer right here is for, you know, my desktop computer. That's for video editing and various other things. And then I have a Mac over here, which is for graphic design. This is my streaming computer and it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. And that makes me very, very angry. But you know what I mean? Yeah, Esther said my boyfriend got me hooked on the 13 o'clock show. That's awesome. It's like... It's so funny because, I don't know, I feel like we started this show back in fucking summer of 2016. We started it just for shits and giggles, honestly. We were at a fucking, what was it? It was at that comic book store. What's the name of it? Shit. It's in Orlando somewhere. I guess it's still around. And they were doing like kind of an event. And we had a table there, and I was selling some of my books, and Armand Rosamilia was there, who was a horror writer. And so we were talking to him, and he's like, you know, he was talking to me about my books, and he was talking to you and shit. And he's like, you know, you guys are really funny. It's like, you guys should, because he had a podcast, and it's like, you guys should start a podcast. You know, he had a network at that point. And it's like, you guys should start one. You guys are really funny. And it's like, you know, you could talk about whatever and you could promote your books. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's kind of a good idea. So then we were like kind of talking about it. And I'm like, yeah, let's just do like a podcast about some weird shit. We'll do like some paranormal shit. We'll do some fucking true crime shit. We'll do like whatever. And I think when we first started out, we just did one show a week, right? We just did like the main show.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about now. And then we were just trying to keep it to 1 hour.
We had on his little network, before there was even a video fucking element to it, 40,000 downloads, didn't we? We
were their second highest.
Yeah, 40,000.
Podcast, like as far as downloads went, like for the audio version.
Right. It didn't make any difference though, because we had zero interaction from those people and made no money.
Yeah, I mean, there came a point where we were just kind of like, well, we wanted a YouTube component.
Yeah.
And at first I was just doing a slideshow because we didn't have video. So, you know, if you guys have seen like the early ones, I don't even like, I'm sure they're fine, but I'm kind of like, I don't really like to go back and listen to the old ones. I don't even listen to like
quality's bad.
Well, yeah, because we just had like a shitty, like cheap microphone because I was totally broke then. And plus I was still like working full time, like at a regular job. Yeah. Whereas nowadays, you know, I have a bunch of side gigs, but this, I mean, honestly, this is kind of like my main job now. I still write books. I still do freelance graphic design whenever shit comes in. I still have some clients and stuff, but we do so many shows now that this is pretty much my main job at this point. Yeah. But, you know, that's cool. That's fine. And honestly, it's like I've been adding more shows like book reviews. And like I said, I was talking about earlier that maybe I'll do like when October comes, I want to do like a horror movie review like every day. But like I said, I'm going to start early. So I don't get like fucking crunch time like when it comes October. So I'll have them all like ahead of time. But I'm always like thinking of new shit we can do for the channel. Yeah. So it's almost kind of like I'm still working on the true crime book. I'm still doing all that stuff, but
which the thing is with this show and our subscribers is that it's small and fluid enough to where we can add new elements and drop them as we go. We can be very like the cooking stuff. We can do that every now and then, but if we drop that and never go back to it, it's not gonna make a big difference. As long as we stick with the Saturday main show that we do.
Or it's Friday night.
Or excuse me, Friday night. We can pretty much do what we want.
Well, and yeah, it's like I kind of like the freedom of just having a thing. And you know, I really liked doing.
Thank you very much, Victor. Victor sent us $10 super chat.
Thank you, Victor.
I started listening in 2017 when I was delivering Domino's on the weekends in nursing school. Hey, Vic, man, fucking thank you for saying so. I wonder how this shit happens, but that was what I had. That's how I imagined the show working. People in their cars and people doing things, people on their commutes. From day one, that's pretty much the audience. And people who were just bored, that needed to kill time, people who are out in the middle of nowhere and isolated. I kind of based it off of what I got out of the very old Howard Stern show.
Well, you just wanted like a hangout kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
Which we liked that, like from the very beginning, because even you liked Howard Stern
and a reality element.
I mean, in a lot of the YouTube shows that I liked, I mean, one that I discovered recently is Time Suck, which I really like, and his shows are usually like 2.5 hours long, and he talks about mostly the same kind of crap we talk about, time, you know, true crime, that kind of crap. And, you know, unsolved mysteries, history, that kind of stuff. And he's a comedian, so it's, like, really funny. And I mean, it's just him. But, I mean, I liked shit like Welcome to the Basement, where it was just two guys, and they were kind of watching a movie, and then they'd talk about the movie, and then they would talk about other movies that they'd seen, and they kind of had this back and forth. They'd been friends a long time, and I really, really liked that just hangout, casual sort of vibe. I like that.
My boy Graham, who is also from Michigan, we went to high school together. He's if you guys are new to the show, he's a retired police officer that I grew up with. He's asking, does the show pay the bills? The entire effort, all wrapped up together, pays the bills. It comes close. But you got to understand that it's multimedia. There's the show, there's ad revenues, super chats, then there's merchandise. Then there's all the books that she has selling.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, the books, and then there's the audio books.
Yeah.
Audio books were a big chunk too. I really do think we need to move to other platforms as certain platforms get better. I think Odyssey is going to be a good platform. It's still under construction, but it's going to be a good YouTube alternative that will have a live stream and super chats, and there's some kind of this fucking laptop. We're gonna get another laptop before we do it, but you can take your laptop and you hook it up so you're streaming on several platforms at once, and that's the way we need to go. I gotta get more into that technology. And then you gotta understand, fucking I got military retirement, so I'm making my active duty pay.
Yeah, so he can do nothing. And
yeah, I can do nothing. I don't need to work.
Which,
I get my active duty pay and
it's a little frustrating for me.
Yeah, she's jealous. I get my active duty pay and I get full medical.
Yeah.
So
see, I don't have any of that shit.
Yeah.
So it's basically like I'm just kind of like, how it breaks down. Probably, I think about 60% is the show, and then maybe 20% book sales, and then however much is left over because I can't math is graphic design. I had a lot more graphic design clients. Like I had, I lost a couple in the past few years because the economy is kind of shitty. So, so I haven't had it, but I do have like some. So I still get that. It's irregular, but I would prefer that. So actually I do. So this show doesn't pay all the bills, but between this and my 2 other gigs, which I also have, I don't have a lot of extra money, but it's not like I have a lot left over, but I do have enough to pay the bills and like have a little bit extra.
Yeah. And we're in a nice place. If this was say California and New York, this would be fucking $7,000, $8,000.
Well, I mean, our cost of living is fairly low.
It's low compared to the cost is low compared to other major cities.
I mean, the rent and like I said, the rent on this place. This is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house.
Yeah.
However many square feet it is, 1,500?
Something like that.
Something like 1,400, I don't remember. It's $1,800 a month. That includes lawn service.
Which you would never have that. That's what I was paying almost for an apartment in Boston back in the 90s.
And we kind of got a deal on it because the people that the people that are landlords, we know them and they own a bunch of other properties. Yeah. So it's not like they're dying like this is the only property that they own. So
I gotta answer some stuff here.
Yeah, so we kind of got a deal on that.
All right.
The bills are kind of high. I mean, for air conditioning and shit like that.
Electrical power for the air conditioning.
Yeah, that's kind of the biggest.
Groceries aren't that bad.
Not really.
Okay, Gadgie says I found 13 o'clock on Paranormal Radio while driving a side loader at work. Heard a movie review where a guy and a girl were swearing at each other. Love it. Still do. Yeah.
Motherfucker. Yeah. See, this is why I get into every single time that we do a YouTube video, I always have to mark that first thing that says inappropriate language.
Victor says, I don't remember how I found y'all. Danny Ghostface says it's a sin that this channel doesn't have 1 million subscribers already. It's the best true crime paranormal channel, in my opinion. Look, man.
Even though we wander off
we're throttled.
Tangents.
We're throttled.
We wander off.
Their favor YouTube favors corporate backed shows. Okay, so I know the throttle. All right, Xanada says Xanada and me fucking do a lot of stuff off the show, talking a lot. He's a good dude. He says I listen to old Art Bell and this show is so similar. That's a huge compliment because not only did I really like Howard Stern, I loved fucking Art Bell. And I kind of wanted the show to feel like a combination of the two. Art Bell was fucking really... Art Bell was the fucking master. Nori couldn't come close. But Art was the shit.
George Nori kind of like got on my fucking nerves, I gotta admit.
Art was the shit.
He seemed like kind of a condescending douche.
He was.
I mean, Not sorry, George. I'm just saying. Maybe he's a perfectly nice person. I don't know.
T says I stumbled upon Tom and Jenny while searching for reviews for Blackula. Ain't that something? I love that movie.
I do too.
Yeah, I listened to their review and laughed my ass off. It's the best review of that movie on YouTube. Thank you very much. Yeah. I fucking love Blackula and Scream Blackula Scream.
Honestly, I think I like Scream Blackula Scream a little bit better because it has the voodoo. Yeah. And I love voodoo shit.
What was the one with the voodoo one with we saw that one. Shit. It had Pam Grier.
I need more information.
Pam.
Oh yeah.
In the 70s. That was really good.
Shit.
We needed to
It's on Shudder. It's on Shudder.
Yeah, I need to get that on Blu-ray and review it.
Shit.
What was the name of that one?
I'll probably think of it about 10 minutes.
She played a voodoo princess.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. We just watched it not too long ago.
I want to see it again.
Sorry, alcohol is like fogging it's clouding my mind, like on the Twilight Zone. But it was on Shudder. Yeah. But I can't remember what it was right now. It's not Ganja and Hess, it's the other one. Yeah.
Gramthars says, "Yeah, I'm a pensioner also. Life is good." Yeah, they're paying us. They're paying for our silence.
Not working for you, is it?
They're paying for our silence.
You shoot your mouth off. Yeah,
well, it's not the silence. They don't want the professional silence. Okay, have we looked? Tina says, "Have you guys looked into sponsors?"
I have actually.
Yeah. We wanted to get Shudder to sponsor us because
one of these days we keep begging them. Yeah. Because honestly, I'm not begging them. I wouldn't do that. But it's like if they wanted to, that would be awesome. Yeah.
Mr. Roboto said a super chat, $2. It's not easy being green, but it's easy being. But is it easy being red? I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Because I don't know if you guys know, but my natural hair color is red. Yeah. I haven't been a natural hair color for a very long time. But that's what my natural hair color is. It's
Casanova's Frankenstein said if Jenny had an OnlyFans channel, it would make a lot of money. Just saying. I know, dude. I'm gonna hook that up, bro. Don't worry about it. We're gonna get OnlyFans.
One of these days. I might if I get broke enough.
That's fucking funny.
I mean, like I said, it's good. It's like I've got to a point in my life that I wanted to get to, which is like I don't have to go to a job every day and listen to stupid people telling me what to do. I only have to listen to you telling me what to do, which is also annoying, but
Miss Evans already party says I found you guys through the Golden State Killer arrest news.
Oh, okay.
You guys got me through a horrible stomach flu 3 years ago. I loved you ever since. Thank you very much, Miss Evans.
That's so awesome. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, Victor Garcia says I used to love Coast to Coast until one night I turned into the show's topic. Which says I used to love Coast to Coast until one night I tuned in and the show's topic was back pain. I'm like, what the fuck? Every now and then they'd have a fucked up fucking topic. Yeah. I think that might have had something to do with sponsors telling them to do that.
Yeah, let's do it back. Maybe it was like sponsored by. Do you know what? It's like fucking funny, but like I remember something like my mom told me like a long time ago about back pain. Yeah. She's like, "Oh yeah, back pain. That's just like fucking. You need some laxatives." Yeah.
Esther says Victor.
So maybe it was sponsored by Dones.
Esther says Victor, once Tom creates and publishes Boobapedia, they'll make some decent cash. Yeah, they probably would.
Dude.
Yeah, Boobapedia.
I just pictured that whole book in my head. You know how I do? Yeah.
T, what movie was that had Pam Grier in it? She played the voodoo princess.
God damn it, we just watched it.
Wasn't she also kind of like a private investigator?
Yes. At the same time? Damn it. What the fuck was the name of it? We just fucking watched it. It's on Shudder. They just added it not too long ago. God damn it. It wasn't Abby. That was the possession one.
Don the Bomb says, I picked up Shudder because of you two, so it'd be a good sponsor. Yeah, from day one, we loved Shudder. We got our Shudder subscription for $4.99 a month, I think. It was the first time.
Yeah, I went annual a few months ago because they were offering a thing. It's like, I think it was $59 for the year, $56 for the year, and then you got a free t-shirt. So I got a Shudder shirt. And I was like, yes, please, give me that shit. And honestly, I've been really happy with it because every single week I check in every Thursday to see what they added. And it's like, they add like 2 or 3 brand new movies. And then they added like a whole bunch of like old ones. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's really well curated. Plus they have a lot of giallo, which I'm all about it. You know what I mean?
No, T, it wasn't Scream Back of the Scream. There was another movie she did. Shit. She did another movie. What's the name of
that shit? Google it.
No, I can't. She did another movie, and it was taking place, I think it was in New Orleans, wasn't it? And it had something to do with private investigators and cops. I want to see it again. It went by fast. And warlocks and fucking voodoo. It wasn't a vampire movie, though. I'd never seen it.
No,
it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was. I'll probably remember I'll remember like 15 minutes from now. Victor says, I think I just Googled paranormal podcast or something.
Yeah.
Which is like really funny. We don't do a lot of paranormal stuff anymore. I feel like we did a lot of paranormal stuff early on. And then we kind of ran out of paranormal stuff to talk about.
Victor says, Shutter sucks. Thought, but I bought a year package. I don't know what he means by that, Victor. Shutter's good for old stuff and new stuff. Like, well, shit, old stuff and new stuff. The old classic stuff is on there, the Hammer horror stuff. Well, and then you have all the new series that are coming
They
out.
just added a bunch of like old like Vincent Price stuff.
Yeah.
They had like House on Haunted Hill, 13 Ghosts. They had all that stuff. They just added a bunch of old silent movies, which is awesome. They added a bunch of old like Bela Lugosi stuff, like White Zombie. They added a bunch of that. And then they had like a bunch of new ones too.
Was it Sugar Hill?
Yes.
Sugar Hill.
That's what it was. Thank you.
Yeah, Tina came up. Mr. Roboto sent a super chat of $5.
Thank you.
Do you know Penny Dreadful? If so, would you go Frankenstein knowing you would regain memory, thus immortal and super strong? I've never seen Penny Dreadful.
I saw the first season, which I actually really enjoyed. But I haven't seen any of the other seasons.
Yeah. Sanders says, to be honest, I don't know how you guys can just sit there and watch movies. I can't do it. I'm too ADHD. Yeah, I know, man. I could barely get you to watch fucking one movie. I got him to watch fucking Apocalypse Now, and then he watched it like 20 times and got obsessed.
Although you're like worse than me because I can sit and watch like 3 or 4 horror movies in a row, and you can't do that.
Xanada, telling you, man, if you like fucking Apocalypse Redux, see Jeremiah Johnson and see fucking Conan. But you got to get good copies. Conan 1. That's all Milius. It's all John Milius. And he fucking writes those badass stories, man. There's always...
Man story.
Man story. Well, it's not just man stories. It's life stories. He also did fucking Red Dawn. Red Dawn is a good one, man. I want to see that one again. I want to get Red Dawn.
They remade that, I think.
I want to see the original. Red Dawn got Milius banned from Hollywood. They're like, we can't take this anymore. They're like, we can't take this.
Although, like I said, they could take it because they remade Red Dawn.
Yeah, they did.
Fairly recently.
Yeah.
So, But like I said, that's kind of the thing. It's like, they act like, oh, we can't deal with it, but...
Yeah, they acted, but they went back to it. Yeah.
Well, anything that's like an IP that everyone recognizes... Yeah, they're going to remake it.
But in those days, they told Milius he had to go. But then years went on, decades went on, then they want to come fucking remake it. It's not as good, though, from what I heard.
Yeah, Tila said Sugar Hill. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Sugar Hill.
That's it, Sugar Hill. Yeah, we just watched that, like, not too long ago. I can't believe I didn't remember the name of that. I'm drunk. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, No Need for Me says, first Penny Dreadful was awesome. I really, really liked the first season.
Yeah.
I really need to watch, like, more of the shit, but like I said, it's like, I'm running out of time for...
Yeah. Xanada, there's another movie, and that if you like Milius, you want to see it. And that was, let me see. I think it was Victor or it was Hernandez sent me The Big Lebowski. I think it was Hernandez, wasn't it? Hernandez sent me that.
I think so.
And The Big Lebowski,
I can't believe you never saw that.
Oh man, it was fucking awesome.
I saw that like back when it came out.
One of the characters in The Big Lebowski was modeled after John Milius.
Yeah.
And what's his name? The dude from what's that TV series?
It's the John Goodman character.
John Goodman character.
Sure.
Yeah, John Goodman. John Goodman plays him. He plays him as a Vietnam vet, and he's all fucking kind of like
Shut
hardcore.
the fuck up, Donnie.
Yeah. You got to see Big Lebowski, but you want to see Conan 1. Get a good copy of that in HD. All right, and then you want to see Jeremiah Johnson. One of those two first. You'd like Jeremiah. That's fucking really good.
All about man values.
Man values, and then you can go see fucking Big Lebowski. That's fucking funny. Yeah, it's good.
I always like the Big Lebowski. Yeah, but it's just kind of like, well.
Yeah.
It's just funny. I feel like you missed out on a lot of like indie films.
Well,
like
it's in the army probably.
Yeah, probably like during a certain time period.
Yeah.
Because
Gadgy 3 sent £5.
Thank you.
Fair chance I'll fall asleep. Gonna try and stay up though. I'm stelled.
Okay. Dom the Bomb says, Jenny, I love Italian films as well, but I'm a big sucker for Italian spaghetti westerns the most. I just like, I don't know, there's just something that is, there's something just very distinctive about Italian horror films. And it's not just, yes, they loved the gore, which, yeah, I love that. But there was some, like, I don't know, like, they had some kind of, like, aesthetic quality about them. I love giallo movies. I don't know what it is. And it's just kind of like, even shitty ones, I'll watch them all day long.
Yeah, okay, yeah. T says she's never seen The Big Lebowski. You gotta see it. But it turns out it's not a scene, The Big Lebowski, about the rug tying the rooms together.
But yeah.
Yeah, that one dude, that's supposed to be Milius.
Yeah.
And then somebody said, Don the Bomb says, Conan, what is the meaning of life? The meaning of life is what Conan said it was. All right, fucking, you know.
Where's that shirt I bought you?
I got it in there. Fucking, crush your enemies, see them driven before you.
It says
and
that. And
hear
the
the fucking lamentation of their women.
I got in that for
fuck
Christmas.
People up, watch them run away, listen to their women crying. The most important, what that all boils down to, what fucking Conan is saying. All right, what is most important in life? Winning. Winning is most important in life. Winning. That's what he's talking about. You are forged on the anvil of Crom. All right? Your pain forges you into something that's strong and hard, you know? But it's fun, too. This is not a bad process. It's
fun for you. It's probably not fun for the other people that you're stomping on.
It's loss and fucking... Well, no. If you stomp on motherfuckers because they needed it. They asked for it.
Did they?
If they attacked you, Conan wasn't cruel. Conan was cool to people.
I'm just fucking.
If they fucked with him, he fucking smashed them. Yeah.
I know how you do.
You know how it is.
No, I know how you
Smash a motherfucker, man. It's coming at you crazy like that. You know, you gotta.
You're only on your first hat.
Yo, that's right. Fuck. That's here we go.
See, you're fucking it up.
No, they're bringing up.
You need to go to like DEFCON.
Yeah, 3. DEFCON 3.
DEFCON 3. Right?
No, DEFCON 2.
Okay.
That's the DEFCON 2.
Is it?
Not at 1 yet.
Okay.
DEFCON 2.
I don't know what your like.
DEFCON 1 is that fucking
is.
redneck hat right there with the fucking camouflage, just camouflaged.
Oh shit.
But no, I'm DEFCON 2 right now. And that's because I was talking about millions.
I feel like DEFCON 1. I feel like DEFCON 1 should be your Michael Caine wig.
No, fucking DEFCON 1 is when the fucking nuclear bombardment has fucking.
That's what I'm saying. So it should be the
when it's hit. You know what I'm talking about? After
so it should be the
after
Michael Caine wig.
It's after the fucking nuclear strike has happened.
Just as you're a sexual tyrannosaur.
I'm just a sexual tyrannosaur right now. Yeah.
Right? Why do I know this stuff?
Of course, because you understand the mythos.
This is my life, you guys.
You understand the mythos of Tom.
This is my life, you guys.
Yeah, no, it's not. It says up here, fucking writes books and fucking work. It is not your life. It's just a sideshow.
It is. I do have to like kind of keep track.
Yeah.
I have to keep track of like the Tom mythology because at some point, I'm sure I'm going to be asked to like write an biography of you. Right?
Nah. I'm gonna let all this fucking vanish like dust in the wind.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's what I mean. Nobody cares about my ass.
Tell Tom to watch Fargo.
See,
I've never seen it.
You need to see Fargo.
Tom's thought on sequel.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Tom's thought on the sequel, Conan the Destroyer. Okay. Conan the Destroyer. A lot of controversy behind it. Okay.
Yeah.
It was, first of all, Milius wasn't involved in that.
Okay, so.
It did not have the fucking mythic quality. Milius was going to write a trilogy, like Star Wars.
Which they should have let him do.
Yeah.
But, you know.
All right. And it was fucking Conan in his youth, Conan fucking kind of like middle-aged, and Conan as an old man. As an old man,
sure.
All right. It had to do with fucking rising, becoming, what was the word that he said? Anyway, fucking what to do once you have power. And then the third one was the repercussions of all that.
Yeah.
The ramifications of it. And how do you remain relevant in old age? And it was going to be like prehistoric Star Wars. It was going to be really good.
Which would have been
Yeah.
Brilliant. Somebody still needs to do that.
It was all Nietzschean. Shit from Friedrich Nietzsche. It's Germanic philosophy. Hollywood didn't like that, especially at that time. All right. John Milius was Jewish, but he was right wing. He was Jewish in the way of like Ariel Sharon was Jewish. You know, he was like an Israeli fucking warrior. You know, that's the other guys in Hollywood. The Jewish guys were not like that. They were, I guess you could say, they were lefty. You know, and they thought this shit was all. They looked at that shit and they were like, "That's all Germanic philosophies. What's up with all this fascist Nazi stuff?" Which is a total mischaracterization of Nietzsche and his philosophy. Nietzschean philosophy was actually Eastern. It's Eastern in origin. It's very yin and yang. Almost, it's a Germanic interpretation of Buddhism, is what it is, and the teachings of Siddhartha, if that man ever existed. I don't think he ever did.
Yeah, I kind of doubt that.
I think it's legend. Okay. Conan the Destroyer came out. They didn't go with the mythic version that Milius wanted. They went with something that was closer to Marvel comic books. So,
and they didn't really have the budget to pull that off.
Yeah, they wanted it to be PG to get more kids in the theater and watch it. They wanted it to be more colorful. They wanted it to be kind of like subject matters and more what you saw in the comic books. I disagree with that direction, but that was the direction that they took. And I don't know, it may have made more money than the first one. I doubt it.
Honestly, you could probably do that better nowadays.
Yeah, nowadays.
Because people have more patience, more understanding for, a wider universe. And also going into a movie with like, this is going to be a trilogy and you're setting up the whole thing ahead of time. I don't feel like they were doing that so much back then.
Now, there's a channel called Midnight's Edge, and they had a guy who was in kind of like the what's his name? Ron Howard? No, Howard was the name of the guy, right?
Wait, Ron Howard was the guy that was like on Happy Days?
No, not that one.
But okay.
No. Howard was Robert E. Howard, I think is what the guy's name was.
Oh, the guy that wrote Conan. Yeah, Robert E. Howard.
Yeah, the Robert
I didn't know who you were talking about.
There was a guy who owns the rights to Robert E. Howard's work, and it's some kind of a he's trying to conserve it and make sure that it was a close interpretation of Howard's work. He liked the way Milius did some shit, but he wants to do it something like that with the same kind of gravitas, but closer to what Howard did in the books. That's who you want to keep your eye on. If they do this, Hollywood will not be able to execute this because of the subject matter. They would instantly label that shit as toxic masculinity. They'd cancel that shit out and talk shit about it. And they probably wouldn't want it to be shown in theaters. So it would have to be a independent film with streaming, which this technology and this culture is now coming to fruition. A good example is MST3000. Netflix didn't want to pick them up. They went directly to their fans and got all the fucking money they need, almost $8 million.
$6.5 million.
6.5?
They had a Kickstarter.
Yep, to do an entire season of high-quality MST.
13 episodes.
13 episodes. So
I'm so excited.
The Hollywood theater system is obsolete. All right. As the technology and the new market fucking evolves, hopefully we will see a good Conan again.
Although, like I said, people like to complain about shit nowadays. It's like, oh, this, that, and the other. But I do kind of feel like something like Conan as a trilogy, like you said, youth, maintaining your power. How do you maintain your power in old age as a trilogy? I think that would fly a lot more now than it would have back then. Because back then they made the first movie, it was successful, but then the second one we're like, well, we want more kids to watch this. We're gonna like put some stupid monsters in it that like shitty makeup. So it's like they did crappy shit back then. They fucked it up. They fucked up the second one.
Yeah.
It had good shit in it, but they cheaped out on a lot of stuff. They wanted to make it more kid friendly. Like, fuck that. I feel like nowadays you could make a series out of that or a trilogy out of that, even on Netflix or something like that, and it would be a lot better. I feel like there's more of an audience for it nowadays. The audiences nowadays are more sophisticated. They're more used to seeing things in that context.
And it's also more, you can also make money targeting directly the fans.
Right. So shit wasn't better back then because it's like they did the same crappy shit back then where they were trying to like target kids and it's like it just didn't work out.
Let me back off of this a little bit. The studio systems pretty much always sucked. Always.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're just trying to make money. They don't know what's going to make money. Yeah. So
they suck now more than they ever did. What's his name? Childish Gambino just came out yesterday and says all the new movies suck because everybody's afraid to get canceled. It's all church ladies running the shit now. Okay. So you would never see that. Conan they would label Conan toxic masculinity. Wouldn't happen. But it always sucked. It just sucked in a different way, the studio system.
And like I said...
Hold on, let me finish. The movies that you are fucking lusting over, all right, as young guys. I'm talking not too much talking to girls, even though some of the girls are into shit. Shit like Terminator 1, Predator 1, Star Wars, fucking Conan. These were damn near independent films. Even back then. Conan was Conan and Flash Gordon was Dino De Laurentiis Studios. That dude was fucking nuts. All right, he would dump a lot of money into a very risky projects. I loved those movies, but they were kind of failures in a way financially at the box office. Yeah, they made money. They made their money back, but that studio went under because of all that artsy fartsy shit that they were doing and all those risks they were taking. Some of the more Hollywood versions, they knew how to make a buck off of real generic shit. Okay, they could make a buck off of that. I think they're aged out over time, but... And then you look at Lucasfilm, with Star Wars, the very first one. That was an independent film. If a big Hollywood studio had made that, it would have never had a classical score. It had a disco score for that time. It would have had a lot of shit that was fucked up at that time. It never would have aged as well as it did. That's still a classic movie. But a big studio couldn't do that. Today, because of the technology, the new appearance for a fucking high-quality, earth-shattering, high-budget independent films are starting to come back. So yeah, you could do a Conan.
Sure.
But it would have to be crowdsourced. It'd have to be streamed. It would have to go through that Robert E. Howard fucking dude who I listened to him talk, and he knows what he's doing with Conan. He knows what he's doing.
But I'm just saying, there's an audience out there. There's an audience
for it now.
Which, like I said, back in the day, you wouldn't have had that.
Right.
So I know people like to piss and moan about shit nowadays, but it's like way better.
It's better because there's more freedom. It's just that people aren't making the move. That's the difference. They came out with a new Conan. It sucked. What was that? 2011, 2009.
I didn't see it. So
it had Jason Momoa, I think, played it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
All right.
I didn't see it, though.
It was not a bad-looking movie. It did not have the grandeur of the fucking, of the Milius De Laurentiis movie. Certain elements of it were kind of like a Conan comic book. But it just didn't have the realism in it. There was something about Arnold Schwarzenegger as Conan that also was good. You know what I mean? Was in.
Well, he's kind of iconic as that character. So if you see it as another actor, it's not quite the same.
Yeah.
Which I get that. It happens.
The newer guy that they had, he was a muscular guy, but the dude has to look like a fucking Nietzschean Ubermensch. He has to look like a superhuman. And the only guy that would come close today, even though he's a little bit old, would be The Rock. The Rock could probably do a fantastic Conan.
Although he's too funny.
He's funny, but he's very likable. And he did have the
I'm not sure you want Conan to be likable, though. Like, not in the same way that the Rock is likable.
In the Howard books, he was not silent.
No, I know that, but...
He had...
I feel like I love The Rock, but he's been in too many, like, comedic roles or, like, crossover kind of roles. I don't know if anybody could see him.
You need a Rock-like character.
Sure, that's what I'm saying.
Somebody who's larger
like that,
life,
but not... Yeah.
And he has to be physically very powerful. It would help if he was kind of racially ambiguous, that you really couldn't tell what race he was, because this is all stuff that's either prehistoric or it's way in the future and post-apocalyptic. And he's a Cimmerian, not a Sumerian, a Cimmerian, and nobody knows what a Cimmerian looks like. You know,
we just made that shit up.
Totally made up. Howard set it in a fictional prehistoric era, but it was Stone. What's his name? What's the director of he's a director. Stone.
Oliver Stone.
Oliver Stone started on the first drafts of the fucking script that Arnold was in, and in his mind, it was post-apocalyptic, very much in the future, but mankind had gone back.
Like Teenage Caveman.
Well, I've never seen it. But society had been destroyed thousands of years ago.
Yeah, that was the premise of Teenage Caveman, the Roger Corman movie from the late 50s.
Right.
That everyone thought that it was like caveman days, but spoiler alert.
It was the future.
It was the spoiler alert after anything.
And because it was the future, that's how you could justify dog-headed men and monsters and gigantic spiders, because they were all mutants and genetically engineered stuff.
Yeah, you can do all kind of fun
shit. That had survived this apocalypse, you know.
But, you know, like I said, it's kind of like, I feel like today it's a much better environment. I mean, as I said, we're old. So sometimes it seems like, you know, it's like, oh, everything was better in the 70s and 80s. It wasn't, though, because you still, I mean, the classic movies... I mean, at least as far as horror is concerned, because that's kind of like my main thing. You know, classic movies, I love 70s horror movies, I love 80s horror movies, but they still had to work within the studio system, or at least, you know, they had to be like independent of the studio. So there were really only two things going on. Whereas I feel like nowadays, you kind of have almost endless outlets. I mean, there are so many streaming services. There are so many, you know, services that are making original content that there's just so much shit that you can't even sort, because even me as like somebody that likes horror and I'm just trying to see all the best shit that's new and I'm trying to like review it and stuff. It's like, I can't get through all the stuff. There's so much of it. And there's so much good stuff. There's a lot of bad shit too, but that's always been.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I think people concentrate too much as like, oh, there's all this shit nowadays, but it's like kind of like there's a lot of, there's a glut of good shit too. It's just harder to find just because there's so much, there are so many streaming services. Everybody's doing their own shit nowadays. Like I said, you know, you see horror movies. I saw a horror movie that was on Amazon Prime that had been funded through Kickstarter. And it was totally decent. You know what I mean? It was totally enjoyable.
Yeah. I
totally watched it, and it's just like, I just kind of came across it randomly. And so that's awesome to me. Yeah. Like, so I'm not going to be like one of those cranky pants like old people. It's like, oh, everything was better back in the day. It totally wasn't. Like, I'm not saying that, you know, some of the best movies ever came out back then, because they did. But in a way, too, those movies are awesome because they stood the test of time. A lot of shitty movies came out back then too.
Most movies come out and they're forgotten.
Everybody forgot about them. Yeah. That's the thing. And it's like, I kind of feel like people get into this thing where, oh, all the good shit came out back then. But it's like, that's only because you only remember the good shit. Yeah. 99% of the shit that came out back then
was bad.
Sucked.
It's the same with the music.
Sucked. It sucked. And the only reason that you still remember the shit, because it was good and it survived. And the good shit that comes out now, people will still remember it 10, 20 years from now. and it'll be the same kind of thing.
Okay. What were they talking? Shit, somebody was saying something. Let me see. Everybody's in there talking. They're all talking about movies.
See, I just kind of feel like I said, you have so many streaming services nowadays, and people are willing to, because it's not super expensive anymore to produce movies and shows the way it used to be, because it used to be super expensive. Now you can do it for...
It's all that fat in there. They were fucking stealing money and...
Well, and now you can do it for fairly inexpensively, right? Yeah. I mean, it's like Amazon Prime has their own shit. Hulu has their own shit. Every streaming service has their own original content.
Movies were huge cash grabs, too.
Well, yeah.
It's just free fucking money.
Yeah. So, and so I feel like there's a lot more, there's a lot more kind of like, there's a large expanse open for... If you want to do like a 3-volume, like I said, a 3-movie thing of Conan, or you want to do like a new thing of Dune, or you want to do an adaptation of this book. And I feel like not only is that feasible from a financial standpoint, but it's also feasible from a built-in, you have an audience for that.
Yeah. They're asking, what about Red Sonja? Nobody's mentioned that. Yeah, Red Sonja was... I remember Red Sonja, but I haven't seen it in a long time. I remember thinking it was okay at the time. I didn't like it as much as the first Conan. Arnold was in it. I got to get it, but it's hard to find on Blu-ray. It's expensive.
I kind of feel like I just saw it on on one of the streaming services. I feel like it's on one of the streaming services.
I remember I kind of under the impression that it had kind of a cheap look to it, and that the writing wasn't all that great. Conan 2, The Destroyer, it had a lot of good stuff in Conan.
But seriously, that monster comes out of the mirror.
The problem was the monster that came out of the damn mirror.
God
and
damn
a couple.
It was every time that happens, I just go.
That movie could be fixed. You could edit some of those boss fights out of there.
Hey, Adam Sane is here.
Oh, hey, what's up, Adam?
From Conspiranormal.
You could edit some of those boss fights out of that movie and do something with CG that probably, or just maybe just reenact it. You could fix that movie, but would you make any money on it? No. That's why they haven't done it. They're just leaving it the way it was. It didn't have that fucking mythic element to Conan the Destroyer.
Which bums me out, because I feel like you said, we've talked about this a lot. I feel like the Conan universe, I mean, the first Conan was so good. Conan the Destroyer had some good shit in it, but overall was kind of lackluster. And then they never really made a third one. Yeah. But I feel like that needs to be a trilogy. Like I said, young man, middle-aged man, old man. It would be like a perfect trilogy, but they have to do it in the way that like they have the same writer, and he's writing that shit from the beginning, and he's mapping it all out ahead of time, so it all links in together. 3 movies that are all linked in together. I think that would be fucking brilliant.
Conan 1 is not a movie. It is the movie. Okay? It is the how-to manual, how to be a motherfucking badass. And it's not just men, it's women too, because Valeria was the female example of what womanhood was. The first story was about growth. Going from fucking nothing to something. That's what it was about. Okay. And what life's like. And that none of that shit's fair. And most people fucking lose. Some people succeed where others fail. Because it's natural selection. And what is selected? Well, it's shown in the movie what is selected. And then it shows all the dynamics between men are products of many fathers. It has that theme. Okay. Women, their motivations are different than men. It's mostly told from a male point of view, because that's who's writing, and that's mostly who's watching. But the female powers are also shown. Okay. What a woman means to a man is escape from a life that is focused around death. In other words, it's leaving soldiering. She tells him, let's get out of here. Just me and you. So Valeria is promising him eternal life and freedom from that life in the form of marriage and a child.
Yeah, that's the thing.
What she's
like
talking
yeah, not so much in real life, but in fiction.
Yeah.
Not so much nowadays, but back in the old days, like particularly in fantasy literature, like sci-fi stuff like that. So a woman would represent, because a lot of it was written by men. So, it'd be like a woman represents
getting a family life.
It's like, so carrying your line on, because a man can't do that.
No,
only a woman can do that. So you need to like hook up with a woman.
It's true though. It's biology.
Sure,
but you have to understand the story is told from a man's point of view.
Well, that's what I just said.
Yeah, you can't, from a man's point of view, you can't be in the army forever.
Yeah,
you gotta get a job and a life and meet a woman and fulfill yourself and have a fucking fulfilling relationship. Have a child, so when you die, you've replaced yourself. You know what I'm talking about? You've made replacements. Yeah. So no, it's totally true. And what is true? True are things that stand the test of time. Reproduction has stood the test of time. None of you would be here.
Obviously.
That's what it's talking about. It's all talking about the big picture shit. But no, I love that movie. That is the movie. Everything about it is true.
It's just a shame that they didn't make it a trilogy, because that would have been a perfect trilogy.
Yeah, because Milius was going to go through the stages of life.
That's what I'm saying. Right. That would have been a perfect trilogy, honestly.
Right.
And you could do that nowadays, though.
Yeah.
Like I said, you could do it on Netflix. You could do it on Amazon Prime. You could do it was just like a 3-volume movie series.
Right.
You could even shoot it all at once if you wanted to.
Milius said the third one, the last one, was going to be about the repercussions of everything that you've done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
see that, like I said, that made me brilliant. Like I said, I'm a writer, so it's like from my standpoint, it's like that. Just it just ties everything up. It'd be, it'd be so good. But they never did it. That's what bums me out. I think that's what bums, because I love the first Conan. Right, I'm a girl. I love the first Conan. The second Conan was really a letdown because they fucking cheaped out on it.
Yeah, they
cheaped out on it, and they didn't really get into. They didn't get into the like thematic, because they weren't, I get it. They weren't like really, they were just like, oh, the first Conan made a lot of money, so let's make another one. They weren't really thinking about the artistic shit behind it, like someone like me would, where it's just kind of like, no, man, let's do a continuation and we gotta like set it up. And it's like, we gotta do a second fucking thing. And this is what we're gonna do. And they didn't really do that. So it's like, let's just throw some fucking people in fucking JC's Halloween costumes in there, and it's like fucking, oh my god, and it
became a wrestling duel.
That I know, and it's like, it's such a shame, because it was,
Adam Sain's saying that it's talking about the wizard duel. Yeah, well, it was not the same director. It's such a bummer. Not the same writers.
Such a bummer.
You're not dealing with Milius, so it's got to be lightweight. Fucking Milius was heavyweight. He was all about philosophy and how to fucking take something that's true and things that have been true for millions of years, and tell that into a contemporary story, you know what I mean, of the here and now. How does that impact you? How does truth fuck with you, basically?
Every time, it's just like, every time I see, it's just kind of like, okay, so this is the same thing. Like I said, I'm a writer, and I like shit that's like contained. You know what I mean? I like a thematic, contained shit. So this, like, the Conan shit bums me out the same way that Dario Argento's quote-unquote Three Mothers trilogy bums me out. Because look, he made Suspiria. Brilliant fucking movie. He made Inferno. Pretty good movie. And then he waited many years. And then he made Mother of Tears, and it sucked. Yeah. And it didn't have anything to do with the first two. It didn't look like the first two. That made me so mad. I like thematic. Everything has to go together. If you're going to make the shit, if you're going to make a trilogy, if you're going to make like something, it all has to go together. Don't make like 2 movies in 1977 and then 1980 or whatever. They make another one in fucking 2007 or whatever. And it's like, oh, this is the third one of the trilogy. And it's nothing like the other ones. Don't fucking do that. It makes me so angry. I don't like it.
Gramthars says eventually every warrior needs to find a woman and settle down, or else tragedy happens. Exactly. Well, if you're a fucking warrior and you don't find a woman and settle down, that's probably because you're either dead or you're unacceptable and you're now a bum. Or you don't settle down.
No woman will put up with your ass.
Yeah, or you don't settle down because you're in a constant fucking war and you keep finding more and more armies to fight for, which means eventually you're killed with nothing to carry on your genetic code, so you're taken out of the damn system like you never existed. So yeah, if you don't do anything, then there's tragedy.
Honestly,
fucking, that's what Milius was saying. He said it's exactly what he's telling you.
Well, and the thing is too, I feel like that is the exact same template of every action movie ever. I mean, like the Mission Impossible movies, the James Bond movies, anything that had Die Hard, anything that had a male action hero, and he was just like, I just keep fighting and fighting, and it just seems like at some point he had to meet a woman and just like knock it off. Because it was like, dude, knock it off.
If you don't stop fighting, you die.
Exactly.
Somebody else has to take your place in that fight. You'll die.
And it's very
fighting till death.
That's very interesting to me because it's always dudes that write these.
Yeah.
So it's like really interesting to me, like how they, because I don't, I'm a girl, so I see the world like kind of differently. But it's like, it's always interesting to me, like how they see things, like how they write the stories. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like, I'm a writer, so I kind of, like, understand where their perspective is coming from. You know what I mean? But it's always really interesting to me.
Mr.
Like,
Roboto sends a super chat of $2 saying, Arnold is now old enough to do King Conan. Yeah, I've been looking into the King Conan
Is he going to do it or no?
No. The dude from the Robert E. Howard fucking Foundation or whatever who owns all the rights to that shit. They really did want to do that, but they just couldn't get it through the Hollywood system. They couldn't get backers. It's kind of missing a middle movie at this point.
Yeah, I was going to say, they really need to remake that second shit.
One of the things that they thought about was a Netflix series that had Arnold in it as the old Arnold, and he would narrate telling the stories of what he did as the young Arnold. So you have a young guy doing the Conan stuff.
And then, with
Arnold telling you.
I think that you have to do that.
That would have been one of the things.
Because he's too old to play the shit. And they fucked up the second movie.
Right, so they missed that opportunity.
So, and now it's too late.
That's how I would do it.
They need to, like, start over.
I would have a Netflix series or some kind of series.
That's what I'm saying. Where
old King Conan narrates and tells you, because you can't get Mako to do it anymore, because the sorcerer, he was a good way of he was a good narrator. I like that.
I like that guy too.
But he's dead now, I believe.
And I think he did die, unfortunately.
But he'd be in his 90s now, wouldn't he?
R.I.P. Well, unless he's still alive, in which case I'm not being weird.
Just that movie start, how did it go? How did the fucking narration go? Oh man, maybe you guys can.
Tila is talking about the Limey. Oh, that was so good. Like, seriously, watch the Limey. It's really, really good. I've seen it.
These are the days of high adventure. And how are you going to get a soundtrack like that nowadays? The fucking score to Conan 1 was epic. Fucking epic. Epic. Fucking epic. You can listen to that shit on YouTube today. Just listen to the fucking with fucking songs. Name of the song.
I love the score of
the Anvil of Crom. Is the fucking name of the songs and shit. Anvil of Crom. Yeah, fucking right, man.
That's one of the scores that I just listen to like without even watching the movie. Same with like the original Suspiria. I'll listen to that fucking score all day long too without watching the movie. But you know what I mean. But, well, like I said, nowadays, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger, too old, obviously. But you could totally do a 3-movie series. Somebody would pick that up, I feel like. There's a lot more chance of it now than there was back then. Like I said, the first movie, brilliant. Second movie, they fucked it up.
I would make 3 series. And you see, here's the thing. Milius is still alive. You have him write the series. All right. And so you have The young season 1 is the young Conan. Season 2 is the middle-aged Conan. Season 3 is the old Conan.
Right.
And instead of having the sorcerer be the narrator to all of them, you have Arnold Schwarzenegger as King Conan, the old guy.
He's just like talking about
telling what had happened.
Sure.
He's telling you the whole fucking story throughout the entire series. That's how I would do it.
I mean,
yeah.
It just seems like it would be, I don't know. But, you know, like I said, there's so many streaming services nowadays. Dude, there are, like, I've read horror novels, right? And then after I read them, I found out that they had been adapted to a series and I didn't even know about it. You know what I'm saying? So there's so many streaming services nowadays that I can't keep up with even shit that I like, books that I like that have been adapted to series for Christ's sake, and I didn't even fucking know about it. I read Gillian Flynn's Sharp Objects without knowing that that had been adapted to a fucking series. I think it was for HBO, which I still haven't watched. I heard it was good. The book is awesome. But the fact that that is happening, I just can't keep up. I can't keep up anymore. So there's too much good shit nowadays. Too much good shit.
Ennio Morricone, that's who did the soundtrack to the...
Ennio Morricone? Yeah,
that's right, yeah. Have the fucking badass fucking drums. In the times when the oceans drank Atlantis. What was that? I can't remember the fucking monologue when he first...
I can't either.
Yeah.
Tila says, Demons is great. Demons 2, not as good, but I like them both, especially the first one. Yeah, I do like both of the Demons movies, but the first one's, like, way better. No Need For Me says, I kind of on Asia Argento when I was younger. Asia Argento is rad. Did you guys see, like, I liked a lot of the movies that she was in, although this is super creepy, but she was in fucking... She did Sleepless. She did Stendhal Syndrome, which is still a good movie. I kind of feel it's weird because Dario was real into making movies with Asia, who was his daughter. And it seemed like he was always putting like some rape scenes in there. So it's a little weird. Just saying. It's Italy. I'm not judging. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's right. Down the bottom says, I don't think Ennio did Conan. Adam Sane jumps in and goes, no, it was Basil Polidorus.
That's right, yeah.
That sounds more familiar.
And honestly, sometimes you watch the first Conan and you leave the screen on, and it's like, I love that title music. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fucking...
That was one of fucking James Earl Jones's best fucking roles as
he turned into a snake and everything.
Yeah, as fucking Thulsa Doom. And Thulsa Doom was about he was about fucking cultural Marxism, man. He'd get you to worry about your destiny and what you saw in the water and this and that, and fucking not worried about yourself or anything else. You just going up in there partying, and then secretly behind the scenes, it's a fucking never-ending fucking circular firing squad. They're eating their own. You understand it now, don't you, people? They were eating their own back there. They were cannibals. Because they didn't grow anything. Did you see any crops? They couldn't make anything. They just went in the temple and ate each other. And had a big fucking drug-fueled orgy. And you had a fucking Doom up there. Thulsa Doom, he knew all about it. He was fucking running the game. He understood it. He understood exactly what he was doing. But he thought flesh was strong. You know, he thought flesh was strong. And, you know, he thought it was stronger than steel. It's not true, though.
Obviously.
It's not true. Flesh is not strong. And that's the meaning of the end of that movie. Conan's dad told him that steel was strong. You could trust steel. You couldn't trust women. You couldn't trust money or other men or anything. But you could trust this steel sword. Well, that shit broke.
Somebody pissed you off, you could just stab them.
Yeah, but that shit broke. The sword broke. You couldn't trust it. And then fucking Doom says, oh, yes, the riddle of steel. Yeah, steel isn't strong. Flesh is strong. Look, come here, my child. She kills herself. She said, that's power. That's not what it was. Conan took a broken sword and still cut his head off with it. Flesh isn't strong. Even a broken fucking sword can cut a hand off. What is strong? What is strength? What is the riddle of steel? Strength is the will to act. That's all it is. Willpower. That was the fucking... If you do nothing, then nothing happens. It's exactly the same lesson that fucking Ra's al Ghul tried to teach Batman over there in fucking Batman Begins. Says, no, your dad got killed because it was his fault. He failed to act. And that is the secret to the riddle of steel. That's all it is. And it's directly out of Nietzsche. That which does not kill you makes you stronger. You must act. If you don't act, you're irrelevant. That's all it means.
Well, yeah.
You're right.
I mean, like I said.
If you don't do anything, then nothing happens and you ain't shit. Most people don't do anything.
Victor says Jenny is so behind. I am. I only have like the chat over here and it keeps like fucking... So he's like way ahead of me.
Yeah, I'm fucking 10 minutes ahead on the day.
You probably are. Like, because somebody asked me earlier, and I can't even remember what it was now. Somebody was asking me about, now I'm afraid to touch anything. But I'm going to scroll. Oh.
James Earl Jones was from Mississippi. I think he lived in Michigan too, but his family was from Mississippi. You didn't know that Darth Vader was from fucking Mississippi? Just listen to that voice, man. He's Afro-Irish Mississippi boy. And he was an Army Ranger, too. Ate snakes. An old school Army Ranger.
Xanadu told you that you needed to watch Fargo.
Yeah, everybody's saying that. I gotta see it.
Fargo is so good.
Yeah, I gotta see it.
It's so good. Well, like I said, it's Coen Brothers. It's, you know.
Oh, yeah. Victor Garcia said, Jenny, here's some money from the future. Sent you $5.
Thank you.
From the future.
Right? That's how it feels like, because I said, my chat is like 10 minutes behind. So, you know, at least my shit's still going.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm so frustrated.
Danny Roland Ghostface saying that talking about the Shyamalan should do a film about the infamous werewolf case in Northumberland, Pennsylvania from long ago. Since all of his films take place in Pennsylvania, just saying.
Who, Shyamalama Ding Dong?
Yeah, Shyamalama Ding Dong. Although I liked his superhero movies.
Yeah.
They were very good.
You know what? I was on Amazon Prime last night and I saw that The Happening was on there. Yeah. And I'm just kind of like, maybe I should watch that. I've heard that it was unintentionally hilarious. I don't know. Mm. Do I really want to like waste time on it?
Yeah, down the bottom because Darth Vader from Bristol. No, the voice of Darth Vader, okay? The voice of Darth Vader was from Mississippi. It was an Army Ranger from Mississippi.
Sure. Tell me what the chat says. I'm behind.
They're just talk. Xanadu says, Tom, I would like also No Country for Old Men.
Also an awesome movie. Oh my God, you've like missed out on so much fucking cultural shit, man. What the fuck is your problem? No Country for Old Men was so good.
And then somebody asked, anybody seen Phantasm? Yeah, we saw the whole series. Yeah. It's an excellent series.
We reviewed the first Phantasm and I think Phantasm 2. Honestly, like one of these days I want to do the whole series because Phantasm, and y'all can come at me if you want, but Phantasm is one of the few series that I think every single one of them in the, like all the sequels, all good. All worth watching.
Yeah. Because
one, they all had Reg.
Yeah.
And Reggie is the shit. But they all did something different. I mean, okay, so there's like some debate about which one's better, like the original Phantasm or Phantasm 2. The first one I saw was Phantasm 2. I saw that in the theater. And I loved it. And then later I went back and watched the original Phantasm, which is also awesome. It's like way lower budget. Phantasm 2 was kind of had a bigger studio behind it, so they had like a much bigger budget. So they did like some cooler effects and stuff. So that's just kind of like, to me, it's kind of a difference between, well, how willing, like Phantasm 2 is less weird, but it's more polished. So it's kind of like whatever you kind of feel like. But I love that the series, they just went off on a thing. It's like, we're just going to do like this fucked up road trip.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second.
What?
Esther, see all the Phantasms. She just
all of them are good.
They're all good.
They're all good. I
good.
liked all of them.
Yeah.
And I don't say that about a lot of franchises because, like I said...
Let me jump in and say something. The Phantasm property was a creation of one man's concept, and the people that helped him do this.
Sure.
It's very coherent. It's very unique. It's an excellent world building. It's 125% fan service. If you like his movies, you're gonna like them because he's talking to you. I think it's one of the best properties out there. I put it up there with the Reanimator properties, probably a little bit better in terms of writing. Even though I love fucking Jeffrey Combs. I mean, it's hard to beat Combs. But man, the Phantasms, all five, I think there's 5 of them in there.
Yeah.
They're all super enjoyable.
Yeah, they're all worth watching.
And by the time you get to the last, and you're in a very codified horror, sci-fi, comedy, adventure world. Kind of like Evil Dead. I feel
like a lot of people don't. I feel like it gets a little bit of short shrift because a lot of people talk about when you're talking about horror franchises, all right? You're talking about Friday the 13th, you're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street, you're talking about that kind of shit. Of which a lot of them were like hit and miss. You know. But Phantasm, I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough in the sense of every single movie being good, being worth watching.
Okay, guys, super chat from Mr. Roboto, $2. How about King Conan and Last Crusade? Arnold Last. I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about. King Conan originally was supposed to be Conan in his old age, having to deal with the repercussions of his life. How does a warrior
get off my lawn?
How does a warrior of that age remain relevant? That was the original concept. What does he do? What is a great example of old age for a man? That's what it's talking about. But like I said, you needed Milius for that, and you missed the middle movie. They'll never make King Conan. Not anymore.
They should have done it back then.
It's too far gone.
I mean, look at okay. Back in the old days, I know it wasn't a thing where it's like, oh, we're going to do this big world building. And it's like, everybody was like extended universe like nowadays. Back then, it wasn't like that. We made one good movie and it's like, oh, everybody wants more of that because that was super. So okay, so we'll cobble together a second one. So they weren't really thinking about it. But look at like the Back to the Future trilogy, which to me is kind of like the platonic ideal of movie trilogies. So some people were doing it back then. But even that, they weren't planning that ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly.
They just made the movie and it was really successful. So they're like, okay, well, we're just going to write another one. They didn't plan it to be a trilogy.
Yeah, okay. Xanada jumps in. I've never heard of these movies. Dude, first of all, you're just a young kid, all right?
Wait, have you heard of what movies?
Phantasms. You're just a young kid. You mean well, but you can't get through fucking great movies, all right? How are you going to get through the fucking awesome shitty movies, all right? I showed you what you needed to watch.
Well, I mean...
This is what Phantasm was. Phantasm 1 was back in was it 77, 78?
79, I think, 79? Was the first one.
It was basically a homemade horror movie. The guy that made it starred in it. And it's just...
No, he wasn't in it.
Well, he wasn't in that?
No.
I thought he was in that one.
No.
Wasn't Reggie in that?
Yeah, Reggie was in it, but he didn't write it.
He didn't write that? Okay.
No, he was just like a friend of Duncan.
He was a friend of Duncan. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But he's in all of them. I thought he was the one that was writing them.
No.
Okay. Anyway, the very first one was about a dude who ends up finding a fucking weird ass haunted fucking mortuary. That's all I can fucking say.
It's kind of hard to explain.
Turns out that the fucking...
It's a little surreal.
The mortuary is a fucking gateway into another dimension.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of characters involved in this story that come from this other dimension.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the dimension of the dead, like a hell, but not really. You just got to watch it. And as each movie unfolds, it gets crazier and crazier and crazier. But Reggie, the main character, is a real kind of lovable character. She's just funny. You know what I mean?
God, Reggie, I love your head.
It's kind of like Ash from Evil Dead. But
yeah, he's kind of like that type of that type of.
Yeah, he's always fucking going after fucking hot girls that are half his age. Motherfucker's bald. He's in bad shape, but for some reason these hot babes love him, and it's just
very
fucking,
lovable.
Just fucking crazy, you know. It's fucking funny. And then it gets down to like movie 5. It's almost like the beginnings of a Mad Max series. It's doing homages to Mad Max.
Well, like I said, it turned into a road trip movie. Even after the second one was kind of like a road trip movie, but like even like past that, it kind of goes in.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's interdimensional. Or that like they're kind of aliens, but I don't think they're aliens. I think they're interdimensional.
They're just whatever they have to be at the time. There does seem to be rules, and he ends up throughout the whole movies running around in this badass fucking car, this fucking badass fucking muscle car, trying to find out where the next portal to this dimension where it appears.
Because they're going from town to town and basically taking all the people and sucking their energy out.
Yeah. Don't explain too much though.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Like I said, they're kind of surreal.
Yeah.
So if it's kind of one of those things where it's like, how much patience do you have for surrealism?
Yeah.
The first one's very surreal. The second one was actually pretty. I saw it in the theater. It got a wide release, and it was like kind of a big studio behind it. So they kind of like had a bigger budget. It's still pretty weird. Yeah. Like the premise. They get
better
weird
as they go, actually.
But all of them are worth watching.
It's one of the few properties where the movies get better as they go. I thought they got
because
better.
each of them did something different. It wasn't kind of like, you know what I mean? Like the Friday the 13th franchise, which I love I love slasher movies, but it's like the Friday the 13th ones. It's like after the third or fourth one, you didn't really need to watch any of them.
Then they're talking about Beastmaster. I remember Beastmaster. That was the dude that had the 2 ferrets in the bag. I remember liking it, but I've been a long time since.
That's on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it. I just saw it while I was scrolling last night.
Tina says, my uncle told me to watch some old Sinbad movies and said they were the best back in the day. Yes, they were.
Oh, I used to like the Sinbad movies, yeah.
They were good. They got Ray Harryhausen fucking effects, stop motion effects. I forgot what Tom Baker, the dude who played one of the Doctor Who's, was in it. In one of them. I think that was Sinbad.
Oh, yeah.
Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger. Or
I think it was Eye of the Tiger, actually.
Yeah. They're good. They're very good. And there's some about them that they're British. And they kind of suck you into them, almost kind of like a ride at Disneyland, like Pirates of the Caribbean or
something. It's that kind of vibe.
They kind of have like a magical, mysterious vibe to them. A lot of mythological monsters and statues coming to life with fucking swords that Sinbad has to fight, and he has to save girls who've been turned into damn monkeys. Didn't that girl get turned into? No.
Well, she got shrunk down.
She got shrunk down. I think a prince got turned into a monkey, and they had to turn him back to a human. There's all kinds of magic involved and sorcerers, and it's good. It's good. They're very good. My babysitter Kimmy took me to see him fucking in the theater when I was a little kid. Yeah, my little fucking Kimmy. I fucking getting up next to her like that, watching them, and fucking it was fun.
Oh, so scary. I think I saw Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger. I'm pretty sure I saw that at a drive-in when I was little. But you know.
I saw them. They were good.
Yeah.
What was good about them is that they were British movies. Kind of like a Hammer horror film. They weren't filled with a bunch of Hollywood tropes. They had their own flavor and tone to them, which I thought was mysterious and pleasant.
Mysterious and pleasant.
You know what I'm talking about? It was a mixture of, when you were a kid, scary but enjoyable.
Yeah.
I liked them. By the magic and shit. But yeah, your uncle told you to watch them because they're good. They're classics. The writing was really good.
I love stop motion effects.
Yeah.
I love all that Ray Harryhausen stuff.
Yeah.
He also did, I think one of the last movies he did was Clash of the Titans, which is 1981, I want to say.
Yeah.
Which was one of my favorite movies from when I was a kid. I fucking loved Clash of the Titans, man.
Some people are saying start with Phantasm 2. No, start with Phantasm 1, man. See them both.
Well, okay. So the thing about it is
big difference between Phantasm 1 and 2, but yeah.
If you have more of a penchant for real low budget, homemade kind of movies, start with Phantasm 1. If you want kind of a more slick, kind of Hollywood kind of shit, start with Phantasm 2, because that was a bigger budget.
But you miss certain things.
But, I mean, you can go back and watch the first Phantasm later. I'm just saying that depending on, like, what your proclivity is, like, what your entry point is going to be.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that Phantasm it doesn't get enough credit for being all of the, like I said, all of the fucking movies are worth watching. And I think almost all of them, other than 2, because I think the other, some bigger studio owns that. I think all of them might be on Shudder.
Yeah, Mango got it right. It was the Golden Voyage of Sinbad that had Tom Baker.
That's right.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
he plays the evil sorcerer.
Yeah.
He fucking knocks it out of the park.
We just watched that not too long ago.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I know him as Doctor Who. One of the old.
Most people know him as
Doctor Who. My favorite Doctor Who. But seeing him as an evil fucking sorcerer was fucking good.
He was actually really good in that.
Real good.
But yeah, so what was I thinking of? Oh, okay, yeah. So I was thinking about like horror franchises. Phantasm is one that doesn't really get enough credit for all of the fucking sequels being good. I mean, look at fucking Friday the 13th, which 1 was good, 2 was awesome, 3 was awesome. After that, 4 and 5 were good. After that, you know what I mean?
Tina says he made me think there were dozens of Sinbads. There's only 3 of them.
Yeah.
I think there's 3 of the British ones. Those are the main ones that most people know about. There might be 4.
Well,
it ends with Eye of the Tiger. I think.
Yeah, I saw that on the drive-in.
That's a good one too.
Well, the weird thing about it is I think there were other ones that were made in other countries.
Exactly, the Finnish and Russian ones.
Yeah, because I saw one on Mystery Science Theater.
They suck.
Which was Finnish.
Yeah.
And they tried to make Sinbad a Finnish
what did
it was like a really
was
weird...
he Finnish or Russian?
He might have been Russian. I
don't
know. I feel like... okay. So Mystery Science Theater did a bunch of these movies that were Finnish-Russian co-productions.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were based on, urban, like legends, like folklore from that area. So you kind of had, like, you had Jack Frost.
Yeah.
Which I fucking love that episode. But they also did Sinbad... what the fuck was the name of that?
I don't know, but the thing is that the Russian Sinbad, the Russian Finnish,
white,
was not Sinbad.
No,
it was some kind of a Russian character who was a sailor.
Yeah,
who they had a bunch of Russian stories about him.
He went to find the Bluebird of Happiness.
Yeah, but what they did was they wanted to sell that to the United States and the West, so they redubbed it and renamed him Sinbad. Because Americans wouldn't know that Russian character. Which is a huge mistake. It would have been much better to introduce him as the Russian character. Because it didn't make any sense as Sinbad.
No, because it didn't have anything to do with the other Sinbad.
It didn't have anything to do with Sinbad.
Sinbad wasn't from fucking Russia.
No, he was Persian, wasn't he?
Right.
I think he was either Persian. He was he was Persian or Arabian. I think he was Persian. And this guy's definitely a Scandinavian, a Russian Scandinavian.
It's a Scandinavian folklore story.
Right, it didn't make any sense. But no, the British ones that you're looking at, those 3, that's it right there. I watch them in order. You'll like them. They're real good. They were kind of like, for me as a kid, that was my first version of like Star Wars. They were as good as Star Wars. When then Star Wars came out, and I was like, wow, and then I got focused on that. But the Sinbad movies were just as good as Star Wars.
I mean, honestly, the Ray Harryhausen skeleton fight.
Yeah.
One of the best stop motion sequences.
What about when he fought Kali?
Yeah, that also awesome.
Yeah. She had
awesome.
was it
I love stop motion.
Forearms, forearms and swords, and he's fighting
she was
Kali.
like big, like this big giant.
She started off as a statue, and that sorcerer made her,
and she's like,
brought her to life, and
she
he had to fight her. And then remember, he had that in Eye of the Tiger. He reanimated that gigantic tiger, and that evil sorceress had that fucking minotaur robot.
That's crazy.
Remember that? Yeah. And she was she didn't have enough magic. She started off as a seagull, and she lost some of the potion to turn her back to a human. So when she turned back into a human, the dose wasn't quite strong enough, so she had one seagull foot. Remember that?
That's right.
And she looked at it, she was like, she's screaming.
Damn it.
She didn't have enough fucking potion to bring.
I hate when I just have one bird foot.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That fucking sucks when that happens. Yeah, I think I saw Eye of the Tiger in the drive-in, actually.
Yeah, Sinbad battling Medusa. I think he's got that mistaken for
Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans. I don't think
Clash of the Titans was that came out in 1981, and that was the last. I think that was the last movie that Ray Harryhausen did the animation for.
Clash of the Titans was good too.
Before he retired. But when I was growing up, Clash of the Titans, oh my god, I love Clash of the Titans. I think that was like what turned me on to like Greek mythology.
Sinbad, Medusa's Greek, and Sinbad doesn't fight anything Greek.
It's like some Persian, like Middle
fights
Eastern stuff.
Persian shit and some Indian stuff. He fights Kali, the statue of Kali that comes alive. Giant. Well, I guess he fought a giant golden minotaur.
Yeah,
so that's
he did,
Greek.
didn't he?
So that's Greek.
Kinda.
I don't remember him fighting a Medusa.
No.
He'd fight giant bears, all kinds.
But the stop motion Medusa was from Clash of the Titans.
Wasn't it a giant bear he fought?
Oh, you know what? I don't remember. I remember the Kali. I remember the skeletons. I remember.
Oh, you know who else is in that shit? Fucking Caroline Munro.
That's right.
God, her hot ass is in one of those movies. I think that was in Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger.
Was she the one that got shrunk?
I think she originally got shrunk, but it's just you're gonna see Caroline Munro who is unbelievably.
She's in Star Crash.
Yeah, unbelievably gorgeous, Caroline Munro, and she's in these Sinbad movies. I think she's in the third one, and the whole time she's running around in basically a fucking I Dream of Jeannie costume.
Well, that was kind of her shtick.
Well, it's a Persian character.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And the cleavage just like, it's British fucking tailored this shit. Because they're boobophiles like me too. And that shit was just going. So you're going to see that whole
country of Toms.
Yeah, oh god.
They're very boob-centric.
Yeah. They knew the deal.
Like I said, even their new, I don't know if it's like this anymore, but their newspaper. So that was the page 3 girl.
Yeah.
That was just for no reason. It's like we have a newspaper, but on page 3 we just have a chick with her tits hanging out. See, there you go, different chick every week.
T's going all right. Get my popcorn ready for a weekend of Sinbad. You like Sinbad?
Yeah, what was the one that was on Mystery Science Theater?
Mango says she was in Golden Voyage. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
I get them all confused.
What are the names you had?
It was I remember Eye of Tiger because I saw that at the drive.
Yeah, that was the last one, and then Golden Voyage I think was the middle one, and the first one was called Sinbad and the something seas.
And the something.
7 Seas, maybe. Sinbad. Mango, tell me, write them down. What the? I'm gonna watch those. We need to rewatch those again.
Yeah, we watched the one with Tom Baker like not too long ago. Yeah, because I remember watching that.
I think that was Golden Voyage of Sinbad.
But like I said, there were some Russian/Finnish co-productions that were based on Russian folklore or Scandinavian folklore. But when they tried to sell them to the US, they dubbed them in English and then they named them Sinbad and the something or other, even though it was clearly not Sinbad, like you said. And a couple of these turned up on Mystery Science Theater. Like I said, one of them was Jack Frost.
7th Voyage of Sinbad.
Yeah,
that was the first one, and then it was Sinbad and what's that? Golden Voyage of Sinbad, and then fucking Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. Yeah, they're good, real good.
I just remember seeing Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger like at the drive-in.
Yeah,
and then I remember I don't know, because I remember like this was like a little bit before that Duran Duran album, 7 and the Ragged Tiger came out, so it all's kind of like blending together in my mind. I wish I could remember the name of that fucking what was that movie they did on MST? It was Sinbad and something or other. But it obviously wasn't Sinbad. It was like fucking it was some Scandinavian shit. And they even made a lot of jokes about it being like everyone just being like white as shit, and I can't remember what it was. But it was like super funny. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah. I'm so behind on the chat, you guys. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Caroline Munro was in Maniac. I had totally forgotten. I just rewatched Maniac probably like a month or two ago. I saw it a long time ago and then I rewatched it and I had totally forgotten she was in fucking everything. Fuck. She was one of those people that just like kept turning up in movies, and I don't know. It was just kind of like when we watched, because we recorded a review yesterday for Piranha, the 1978 one, directed by Joe Dante. And I saw that when I was a kid, and I had forgotten how many fucking famous ass people were in that. Every single person that was in that, I recognized them. And I didn't realize that at the time, because I saw it when I was probably 7 or 8 years old, and I didn't know who any of these fuckers were. So it was like really weird watching it, and I'm like, oh my god, it's that guy. Oh my god, it's that chick. Oh my god, it's okay. Or everybody in it was famous. And then after we watched the 1978 one, it was on Tubi, and then we watched the 1995 one because why not? It was right there and it was free. So we watched it, which I didn't even know existed until the day we watched it. So we watched the 1995 one, and that was also full of famous people. I'm like, hey, it's that guy from House. Hey, it's that chick. She was in Christine. Hey, it's that chick from Punky Brewster. Hey, it's this. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's almost 9:00.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went on. This has been going on for 3 hours and 15
I can't believe
minutes.
that this stream has held out that long.
I can't believe it either.
But I'm getting hungry. You want some meatballs?
Yeah, I'm starving.
All right.
I'm starving.
Yeah, we saw the Piranha movies. They were good.
Yeah, we're gonna look. We recorded a review of the 78 one, and we also talked about the 95 one, which we also watched because why not?
Yeah, T said that she also added Jason and the Argonauts. That's a good one.
Oh, I like Jason.
Yeah, you can watch that right along with fucking Sinbad. They're all about the same. I'd probably watch Jason and the Argonauts last. Go for fucking Sinbad first. Watch all 3 of them and then check out Jason.
Honestly, Ray Harryhausen, I would rather watch stop motion animation than CGI.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it depends on the tone of the movie. Depends on the tone of the movie.
Pretty much across.
I mean, that was Terminator 1 had some of it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, so did RoboCop.
Yeah.
RoboCop. The robot, the one that like shot all the people in the boardroom, that was stop motion.
Yeah.
It can be done well, and like I said, you can make a whole fucking movie. Look at the dude. Like, look at Nick Park that made all the Wallace and Gromit movies. That's all stop motion, and that looks amazing. Yeah. And look at like Nightmare Before Christmas, also amazing.
Jason the Argonauts was good. Another one. I think it might have been from the same theater or from the same studio. Was a British movie about some British guys that get picked up by a German U-boat during the war as prisoners, and the U-boat gets lost, and they end up in some kind of fucking forgotten world that was like semi-prehistoric. It had like cavemen and samurai and fucking dinosaurs. What was it? It was called The Land That Time Forgot, maybe? Yeah. Land That Time Forgot, I think is what it was called. That was a good one. I like that.
Peter Cushing was in that.
Peter Cushing was in it.
Peter Cushing and Doug McClure.
I think so, yeah. I saw that one in the theater,
Doug McClure, who was in Humanoids from the Deep.
It also had Tor Johnson.
That's right. I forgot he was in that.
Tor Johnson was.
Oh my God, fucking Tor.
He played
from all the Ed Wood movies.
Yeah, and when you get to Tor Johnson, it looks like a Frank Frazetta painting. He's like this big old fat evil fucking king of these weird fucking samurai wearing burned up motherfuckers. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool. Johnson. Yeah, I think that might have had Caroline Munro in it too. It's a possibility.
Yeah, she was in it.
Did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was.
Her hot ass.
I had forgotten that Tor Johnson was in that movie.
Yeah.
Well, because I think the new MST did it, right? Like when they were on Netflix for a season and a half. I'm pretty sure they did Land Time Forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like Doug McClure and Peter Cushing build essentially a submarine / drill, except it's like going into the earth. And they go into the middle of the earth, and there's a bunch of like dinosaurs and cavemen and shit.
Yeah, see all these British dudes are tripping that I know that fucking man. They're all going, Land of Time Forgot. That's the top of the that was the top of the fucking.
I know, I love that movie. I love
it. It's a good movie. And like I saw him as they bring back memories. I saw him as a little kid in the theater, and I had my fucking little babysitter with me who looked like Princess Leia, little Kimmy. We were watching this shit. I got to get a picture of Kimmy because she's cute. She was cute as shit. I got a picture of her when she was probably about 13, around her somewhere.
I think you showed that on the show before.
Yeah, and that she was my babysitter. She looked like Princess Leia with long hair. But yeah, fucking that kind of brings back memories of that. Those movies were great to see in the theater when you were a kid.
Bitch, man, I love all those old British movies.
They were fun as shit.
I love the Hammer movies. Yeah. I love all the Amicus movies. I love all the fucking movies that were like based on fucking what's that dude's name? Like Dennis Wheatley, like The Devil Rides Out. I love all the Quatermass movies. I love all the Asphyx. I love all that shit. Yeah. I love that shit.
But the British ones, the fucking Sinbad ones, and fucking Land of Time Forgot, and also Journey to the Center of the Earth. I saw that one too. Where the fucking Peter Cushing goes down to the center of the earth in a damn boring machine. That one was pretty cheap, but it was still fun. The British back in the 70s knew how to entertain an audience. They would take you to another world where you could kind of suspend your disbelief and go into another kind of fictional. Not all the time, but those movies I just mentioned, they were cool like that. Yeah, they were good. Yeah.
Tila says Piranha's so good.
Yeah, we saw them. They're good.
I could not believe, because I saw it when I was a kid. It scared the crap out of me, because like I said, I'm scared of sharks and piranhas and all that kind of shit. Because I grew up right next to the ocean. So I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, and we watched it again, and I was like, oh my god, I forgot how fucking good that movie was. It's actually like a competent, for some reason I had it in my head that it was like this cheap jack, like fucking bullshit movie, but it's really not. It's actually
she
really well
promised
done.
her uncle she'd watch Squirm too. About yeah.
Oh, but Mystery Science Theater did that.
Yeah,
that was their second to last episode when they were on Sci-Fi.
Yeah,
and the Squirm episode is one of their best episodes, I think. It's a ridiculous movie. Now the one that they did on MST, it's a good movie in its own right. Okay, I'll give it that. I mean, it's cheesy. It's like one of those nature run amok movies, which I kind of love from that era. The MST version, they cut some shit out. They cut some nudity out. They cut out some of the gore, but not all of it. Because like I said, they had to cut it for time and content and whatever. But I don't know. You could watch either version. The MST version is very, very funny. But the movie on its own is pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty entertaining on its own just because it's set.
The premise.
I mean, everyone in this movie is like ridiculously Southern. I mean, and the funny thing is like they did this movie and the dude, I think it was like fucking Servo that made the joke, because like the chick is like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And she was like talking and he was like, come on, no one's that Southern. And it was just kind of like she was like really overdoing it, but it was like, it's really, really funny. But the thing,
a fake accent.
I don't know if it was, maybe, but it was supposed to be set in Georgia. Fly Creek. That was the name of the town.
Yeah, like
Fly Creek, Georgia.
Like there's a town's named Fly Creek.
Fly Creek, Georgia.
Yeah.
That
Well, there might be.
I think they did shoot it in Georgia,
actually. There might be a place called Fly. They might be talking about mayflies.
Well, that's what I thought. I mean, you know, I've been to Georgia, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a funny, I don't know. I thought it was very funny. I really like when on MST, when they have like the super, super Southern or super, super Midwest type, because they're all mostly Midwesterners, other than Bill Corbett, who did Crow like later. He's from New York City. But other than that, they're all from the Midwest. So it's like anytime they did like Midwest type of movies, like Giant Spider Invasion, which was like super Wisconsin, or whenever they did Southern movies like Boggy Creek or Squirm or something, were like comedy fucking gold.
They're asking you to do a Southern draw. If you can. I don't think you can. I don't think she can. She didn't grow up that way.
I did, but well, all my family talk like that, but I didn't talk like that.
She refused to be that way. Yeah.
Well,
she refused it. You'd have to fucking get her mad probably, and it might come out.
Yeah, if I got mad, I would probably talk like that. Well, my dad's side of the family talk like that.
Do you remember?
All talk like that.
Do you guys remember a movie called Food of the Gods?
Yeah.
Food of the Gods. Yeah.
Like I said, very loosely based on an H.G. Wells story. Very loosely.
I think of some other fucking weird ones from that time.
I said this on the Piranha review, which, like I said, you guys will see in a day or two. But I love all the 70s nature animals run amok like stories. I love like Kingdom of the Spiders. I love The Swarm. I love Orca. I love all of those fucking cheesy Grizzly. I love all those fucking books. I don't know. There's something about this movie that I just fucking love.
Well, it hit 9 o'clock. Let's go ahead and fucking call it a night. Yeah, I'm gonna make something to eat. Everybody seems to be having fun, but we've been streaming for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe. Well, yeah. With the rats.
Yeah, the rats. The big chicken.
I forgot about the big chicken.
Yeah, the big chicken.
We need to do Night of the Lepus. About the giant bunny rabbit.
I didn't see it.
You didn't see Night of the Lepus?
No, I didn't see it.
Night of the Lepus about giant bunny rabbit. It's so funny because it's like, obviously they're trying to make big bunny rabbits seem intimidating, and it's just like, you can't, because like their little noses are just like, it's like, oh, they're just so cute. Even when they're giant. Oh my god, it's eating me. No, it's not eating you. It's just like fucking cute. That'd be like if Pookie grew to like giant size and you try to make her intimidating. It's not working. It's not working. She's still cute. Want to have Jenny do a southern. Oh, okay. So you're way ahead of me. I can kind of like, I don't know. And the weird thing about it is that when I've been to other cities, like about other cities up north, or I've been like overseas, people thought that I sounded Southern or thought I sounded rednecky, but I don't know. I don't think I sound like that. Because my dad's side of the family is Southern, but my mom's side of the family is from Baltimore. So I kind of had like a North and a South, and so I think it like evened out. Plus, I didn't really want to sound like a redneck. So I can if I want to, but I'm not going to do it.
I'm just in and out of it. I didn't think about it. Depending on where I was. If I'm away from the South for a long time, it starts to fade. You
sound like it more than me, even though you didn't even grow up here, and I did.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it's just something about. Well, no, I had a Southern accent even when I was away from the South. It's just that it gets like less. You know what I mean? It fades. But you've heard me on the phone with my dad.
The more you talk to your dad, the more Southern you sound. Yeah. Which I probably would do that too, because I kind of tend to pick up the voice patterns of people that are because when I was in the UK for a while, I started picking up a little bit of a Welsh accent, because when I came back, everyone said that I talked funny.
It's subconscious. It just happens because the people around you are talking that way, and it just.
That's what I'm saying.
For me, it's like. Yeah. And another thing is I'll just slide into Portuguese, speaking Portuguese, and if I speak Portuguese for too long, and then I start talking to Brazilians in English, and they're speaking to me in an English into a Brazilian accent, I'll start to fucking sometimes respond to them in an English in a Portuguese or a Brazilian accent.
Yeah.
Which is coming back from Brazil, I had a slightly Brazilian accent to my English for a little while. Then it went away.
Yeah. Well, as I said, it's you kind of like talk the way other people around you are talking. Yeah. Which, Tom Petty was from Gainesville, and everyone in his family had thick Southern accents except him. Yeah. Gainesville is not that far from here, actually. I've been there a couple of times.
Grandpa says, how come in Florida north is south and south is north? Okay.
Florida's weird.
The panhandle is just like Mississippi and Alabama.
It's like Alabama.
Central Florida is kind of like Tennessee.
Well, Central Florida, it's not like anything because everybody's from somewhere else except me.
Yeah, well, that's Tennessee.
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of like the Tennessee, Nashville area where it's southern, but there's people that have moved there.
Yeah.
All right. When you get down to Miami is heavily Hispanic. Okay, it's Cubans. And
yeah,
then everybody else,
largely Cuban.
Yeah, Florida has always been that way. This started off as Spanish territory, so they did not immigrate here. They were born
They've
here.
been here
For before
generations.
Before the United States existed, they were already here. So then you had in the Miami area. Miami is kind of like the rich people neighborhood for New Yorkers. A lot of New Yorkers own homes and several homes here. So you go down to Miami, some of those neighborhoods are fucking very rich people from New York or very rich people from the LA, California area. So they're not really from here, they just own property here. During the 80s, during the Miami Vice era, Miami skyline was fucking built on cocaine. It just was. You have to be honest about things. This was a fucking point of entry for fucking cocaine, and that place just exploded. And, the local government was involved in it. They knew. All the fucking families. So, a lot of the United States is going through fucking changes right now. But that's all pie in the sky. You trying to change in South Florida is like changing Mexico. Those cartels will fucking kill you. It's going to be like that. That's why whatever rules the United States makes, it's not going to really apply down there. They're going to do what they want.
Well, Florida...
They got the dirt on everybody.
Florida, I mean, from my experience, and I was born here, Florida is kind of like 3 states in one.
Yeah.
The northern part of Florida, other than Jacksonville, is kind of like Alabama. It's very rednecky. It's very, very southern. You kind of get a little bit of that bleeding in down to the central part too. Because like I said, Daytona Beach, where I grew up, was very rednecky also. Because we have NASCAR track.
Yeah, when you think of Daytona, you think that would be like some kind of fucking metropolitan place.
No, it's not.
No, it's not at all. I like it. It's country though. It's like a big country suburb.
With a beach.
With a nice beach.
So you have like
racetrack.
A lot of tourists. Yeah. Like spring break, a lot of people go there for spring break. And there's a big biker culture.
Yeah.
There's a big NASCAR culture. It's very, very rednecky.
Yeah.
It's better than it used to be when I was growing up, but it's still very rednecky.
Yeah, and bikers are like something out of Walking Dead around here.
Yeah, I mean,
Warlocks
Central Florida, Orlando, Tampa is a lot more, it's kind of like harder to get a handle on because everybody's from somewhere else. Tampa has a little bit more of like a Cuban influence. Orlando is just kind of all over the place. We have everybody from everywhere moves here. There's a little Vietnam. There's a little everything. There's a Chinatown. There's a little, you know what I mean? So there's like people from everywhere. And like I said, Tampa's kind of like that too, but it's a little more Cuban leaning. They have like a pirate thing going on. Miami is pretty much like Cuban and rich white people from up north.
Yes, well, how come Floridians fucking litter so much? I don't know what you're talking about, man. This place is spotlessly clean.
Well, no, that depends on where you go.
Depends on where you go?
That depends on where you go.
This area, the Orlando area, and a lot of the places, feels like an extension of Disney theme parks. Manicured fucking...
Well, at least where we live. Like I said, not everywhere in Florida is like that.
Well, you get out of there, you know what I mean? It's just country homes.
Yeah.
Depends on where it is. Some places are older than other places. This place is very new where we are right now. And there's no reason to go to those places you're talking to. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Nothing to speak of. There's not even good restaurants over there.
No Need for Me says that they would have pegged me as a northerner.
Okay.
I'm not, though. I'm from here. I mean, like I said, it's kind of like I grew up.
She lived in England and shit, though, too. She's been.
Yeah, but I mean, I was born in Florida. I grew up in Florida, and my father's side of the family is Southern. They're from Tennessee, and then they moved to Florida in the 50s. But my mom's side of the family is more northern. They're more Maryland, D.C. type of area, which I guess is sort of northern. Yeah. But I don't know. I never really related all that much. I like some Southern shit, but I never really related that much to the culture. So maybe that's why.
Gramthars said that he was at Merritt Island. He couldn't believe the litter ever. Where the hell's Merritt Island?
That's over on Over near the coast. Yeah, I know where that is.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Never been there.
I've been there.
Is it a lot of litter there?
I don't know. I haven't been there like all that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's.
I haven't noticed anything.
Yeah, but we
Drove
live
through
in a really.
Yeah, and drove through Clearwater and it was fucking spotless. All them damn fucking Scientologists, they own that place.
That place creeped me out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Start going out towards Eustis. It's just houses out in the country and fields and farms and horse farms and.
If you ever want to feel like what it's like to live in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, go to Clearwater.
Yeah.
And drive around downtown. See how that makes you feel. Well, that's how I felt. Because I lived there for 8 months, and it's like that's how I felt. It felt like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
What's funny is that you can just hit this road right here and go out in 20 minutes. Just drive 20 minutes. 20 minutes later, it feels like you're in Mississippi.
Yeah, like it's just farms.
Same thing, farm.
But
farms
I mean,
and houses. And you go to the center town. You go to the centers of their towns, and it's just like a BP and like maybe a daycare center and a fucking dollar store. They got those.
Well, yeah, because those
everywhere.
bitches are everywhere.
They're just fucking everywhere.
Well, and the thing too is that I mean, like I said, when we drive out to my mom's house, and she lives in Ocala, like near the Ocala National Forest, which is only really about an hour and 20 minutes from here. But honestly, you drive about 20 minutes, 30 minutes away from here, and it's nothing. It's just like forest.
Jungle and forest.
It's a road and woods.
Yeah.
And springs and campgrounds and shit like that. There's like nothing out there. And the cell service is kind of spotty, which is why I don't like to drive out there by myself because, like I said, if I drive back at night and my car breaks down, I'm going to get murdered. So, you know. Just like the movies.
The United States is not very not as sparsely populated. It's not dense. What's funny is that I once heard that you could take the entire world's population and it would comfortably fit inside Texas, and you with everything that they need for support too. That includes India and China, and we don't have anywhere near that population, and it's just spread out in a pretty big area. Population density is all in these cities. Everything else is just like fucking country. It's real fucking sparse.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's around here. It's not like, I mean, I see people every day, obviously, but.
Yeah. And the cities are nowhere as dense as, say, like Tokyo. Nothing like that.
No.
And when you say city areas, if you'd actually look at Google Earth, they're not in the downtown areas. They're more like in suburban sprawl around the downtown.
Well, like I said, people bitch about New York being crowded. Go to London and then get back to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like that.
Because it's like I'm not a big like people person. I don't like a lot of crowding, but I love New York. I was in London. I love London too, but it's like I was in London. I'm like, holy crap, this is like fucking 100 times worse than like way more crowded than New York was. Yeah. Like in the sense of like going in a store and just being like, just like kind of fighting through people and stuff. It's probably not like that now, but it was like that in the 90s and 2000s.
Victor says that's already happening in Texas. Yeah, it probably is. Everybody's moving to Texas. Everybody's moving to Texas and Florida.
Well, yeah, but that's why they're building all new fucking houses.
I think they're mostly going to the Miami area though. I-4 corridor, we're picking up some, but I think most of it.
Yeah, because they are building a lot of new shit around here. But that's been going on for as long as I can remember.
The average person who doesn't really fucking know much about Florida, maybe they have a whole bunch of money in their pockets, they're gonna go to Miami because that's where everybody else is.
Well, Miami and Orlando are the two places that everybody knows.
Out of the two, I'd pick Orlando. You can get a lot more for your money here, and I just like it better than.
Well, the thing about Orlando is that it's a nice downtown area. It's not massive, but it still has like some cool shit that you expect from a downtown area. But there's a lot of, exurbs, like suburbs that are not horribly expensive. And you can usually, you got to watch because there's like some fucking sketchy areas around here too. But you have to but you can get a lot for your money down here in the Orlando area. If you don't want to live like right in downtown, because obviously that's expensive.
Yeah.
But
if you have $1 million to spend, you can get a gigantic mansion. You could get something that you never get something like that for $1 million in California. I mean, I saw Glenn Danzig's house, and it was quoted at nearly $1 million in that old fucking dump. You know what I mean? And that was like something that was up the road from where I would live fucking when I was living in Carson. And I was just like, that's what $1 million gets you in fucking in California.
Well, like I mentioned before,
Jesus
it's like
Christ.
you could get, if you had $400,000, you could get a really nice house for that.
4-bedroom
in this area.
Brand new house.
Because I think this house, which is probably 11 or 12 years old, this is 4-bedroom, 3-bath. I think it's like 1,400 square feet, something, 1,500, something like that.
$1 million to get you a mansion right over there.
And this is less than $400,000. Like I said, and you could probably, they just built some newer houses that are about the same size and style as this. Yeah. And I think they're between $400,000 and $500,000.
Yeah. And they look like little.
And some of them are a little bit bigger than this.
They look like little Spanish castles. They got little fucking.
Yeah, they got little round little turrets on them and shit.
Everything's Spanish.
They just built a brand new neighborhood like a year or two ago. Like just right up the street.
It looked like fucking Walt Disney's interpretation of what a Spanish castle would
They're
look
cute.
like.
The houses are nice though.
Yeah, 2 stories.
And it's nice because I don't really like the frontage because it seems like that road is kind of a bitch to get, on and off of. But the back of it is nice because the back of it is like right on that trail. So you get like all the trees in the back. Yeah. It's kind of like nature.
Tila says $1 million home in Silicon Valley make you laugh. Yeah, I know. I don't understand it. You don't have to live anywhere. Everybody can work online. I mean, you can work a job. People. You could those Silicon Valley jobs. I'm sure I bet you could do that from home.
Well, yeah, all that kind of.
And shit. Then that means you could do that from Florida. What the fuck do you need to be living in Silicon Valley for all that shit? I've said this before, before on the show. I believe that highly congested metropolitan areas are now obsolete. I think they're technologically obsolete. It's only a matter of time before the population density declines in those areas and everything becomes kind of like a developed suburbia. That'd be fine. You could have because we got nice restaurants out here, as good as anything you can find in fucking Boston or New York. We got that here, and it's just like the neighborhood restaurant. Everything's spread out now. There's no reason.
I mean, you can't walk to it. You got to drive.
Well, you got to drive. But everybody has cars, and cars aren't expensive here. You can get a car for $500 here. It looks like shit, but it get over $500 Taurus.
Yeah, my car looks like
shit.
I just spent $230 putting 2 new tires.
Yeah, so it's just.
My car is fucking old.
Centralization is technologically obsolete. Everyone's going to spread out, and life will be a lot better. Because
like I said,
you can now get everything anywhere.
Well, we're kind of in a good area here because it's a nice neighborhood and it's like, it's not rural, but it sort of feels rural in the sense that it's kind of quiet. There's kind of woods. There's a nice trail behind it that you can walk. And it kind of seems like it's not in the middle of everything. But then like a mile away is the highway. A mile away, there's a Walgreens, there's a McDonald's, there's a grocery store, there's restaurants, there's a movie theater, there's all kind of shit like right there. You know what I mean? So you're kind of out in the woods, but not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it seems like a good.
Yeah. Victor said metro areas keep growing though. I'd have to see the numbers. And everything is temporary. Nothing's permanent. Everything is constantly shifting. And the only thing that's true are things that last forever. If it's not forever, then it's only a temporary status. There's no reason to move to those areas. If people are moving there, there's a reason. And so you have to ask yourself, what is the reason? Are they pouring? Are they giving them free money? Is that why they're going? Because that'll dry up. It's just, I'd have to see the actual data.
Zach asked, how big of a problem are spiders down there? Out of curiosity?
Yeah, outside the fucking, in the country, they're bad. I've fucking seen tarantula things that fucking big, hunting spiders.
There are like black widows and stuff here, but it's like, honestly, I think in my entire life, and I've lived here my entire life, I've only seen a black widow maybe 3 times. Now, my brother got bit by a brown recluse spider and got blood poisoning. Mm-hmm. That was like several years ago. But I think we were out in the woods. We were like at a spring or something. So it wasn't like it came in the house and bit. It's like a bit his knee. But we were out at, I think we were out camping and he got bit.
Yeah.
So you do kind of got to watch. But it's not, we don't get a lot of it in the house though, right? Well, and I feel like we have cats too, so it's like as soon as a spider comes in, like a cat will eat it. So, speaking of which, I walked into the kitchen earlier, and I'm pretty sure that for a split second, I saw a lizard.
In the kitchen?
That then just ran under the oven.
Yes, there is a lizard underneath the oven.
Okay. I thought I was like imagining things.
No, he came in. He came in through the sliding glass door, and I couldn't catch him, and he fucking went.
Oh, that little shithead.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's missing a tail.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
okay. I just saw him for a second, and I was like, wait, did I even see that?
All right, Grandpa's asked me about poisonous snakes. The whole time I've been here, I've only seen one poisonous snake. It was a coral snake, and he was only about a foot long. And I was cleaning out a horse stall with a fucking fork, and fucking he came up out of there, and I said, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And I said, "Red and yellow killed a fellow, red and black, friend of Jack." And I said, "That's a fucking coral snake."
Yeah.
But their heads are so small they can't open their mouths wide enough to fucking bite you. Their fangs are in the back of them. Their fangs are in the back of their mouth, and they eat little bugs. They eat crickets and shit. They're too small.
They're not big.
They're not big.
I mean, I had one. Okay, so I've lived in Florida my whole life. I saw one time at my grandmother's house, I was going down her back steps, and a coral snake went over my foot. It didn't bite me. It just kind of went, hey, just going over here. And I was like, oh, well, okay, that's poisonous. But he was kind of small. So I saw that. I've seen water moccasins. And I also saw a diamondback rattler on the side of the road one time, just when I was walking home from the mall. But he had been hit by a car.
Yeah.
So he wasn't in any shape to bite me. Other than that, I don't know. You gotta watch, like, the only thing you gotta watch, because snakes are scared of people, obviously, because they're much larger than you. But the only thing that you have to watch is that when you're doing, like, yard work, because a couple times, like, my grandma would be, like, out cutting her fucking hedges or whatever, and then, like, a snake would pop out, like, hey, you're cutting my fucking house or whatever, and then, like, you know, you have to watch that, because they'll bite you if you fuck with them. If you don't fuck with them, usually that's like, hey, you're bigger than me, I'm just gonna go hide. That's what they would usually do.
Yeah.
There are 4 types of poisonous snakes that live in Florida. You got your water moccasins, you got your coral snakes, you got your diamondback rattlers, and what's the other one? I can't remember what the other one is, but there's a 4th one too. So there are 4 of them. But they don't like people. So as long as you don't come across them accidentally when you're doing yard work, which does happen, just don't fuck with them. Because most people that get bit here, they get bit when they try to be fucking cute. And it's like, look, I'm going to pick it up. And then they bite you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We've been streaming forever, Jenny. We got to get off.
Okay.
I'm fucking starving. It's probably close to 10.
Yeah, we've been on for almost 4 hours.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Go ahead and shut it down. Let's get
all right. Yeah, let's eat something.
Yeah.
Plus, I probably have to go to the bathroom again too.
All right.
And this wig's starting to give me a headache.
What?
The wig.
The wig. Yes.
Well, it's heavy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't really think about it, and then I'm like, oh my god, my head hurts. All right, so you guys, my chat's behind, so I can't see what you guys are.
They're talking to each other.
Talking about. Okay, yeah. So we will be back on Friday night. I'm very excited about the Friday night show because we're doing a revisit of the Satanic Panic.
It's gonna be a good show.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I've been doing research all week because I'm so excited about talking about it because like I said, one of my favorite topics.
We're gonna revisit some of the old topics back under when we did it on the old format. We could do a lot better now. So
yeah,
we're gonna get Satanic Panic. That was one of our top shows.
Yeah, that was episode 2.
Episode 2.
Like from almost 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to be revisiting that. So we're going to do that on Friday night at 6 p.m. So hopefully you guys will come by here. I'm sure they will.
They're all saying goodbye.
Because they always do.
Yeah.
All right. So have a good rest of your evening. And we will see you guys on Friday night.
Enjoy Sinbad.
Yeah, go watch
I wouldn't mind seeing Sinbad tonight.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't care.
I'll be watching Sinbad.
I'll have some meatballs.
Make some meatballs and watch Sinbad.
And drink some beer and watch some Sinbad.
Sinbad and the 7 Voyages of Sinbad.
Yeah, why not?
All right.
All right. So we will see you guys on Friday night. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah. Thanks for all your super chats. And good night. Mm-hmm.